There you go. Okay, we don't have Baba on our intro screen. Nice.
Oh no. Oh, there he is.
Easier.
Okay, so I'll
Yeah.
just take some time to just
Where's
open
the
the.
link? Is the link
The
on
link,
WhatsApp?
I have
Okay,
the link.
I shared the link,
I will.
didn't I?
Yeah, but it's lost in the group, I'm guessing.
That
Sorry.
is the stream link.
Yeah, that is the
Straight in
stream
the
link.
WhatsApp. Baba, I'll send it to you on DM as well.
Let
Can
me
anyone just take a
copy
quick
one.
look at the podcast and या फिर कोई भी if someone's joining? Okay, we have 7 viewers. Oh my god, please like and subscribe.
Damn.
Oh, damn.
इतना attention सीट
Nice.
को. Okay, audio and
Yeah,
quality. I just
I
feel
mean,
the
it's
same.
it's like what's even more funny is that you still can. There's closed captions. So
Yeah.
like it
Uh,
automatically translates what I'm saying. So
it tries to. It tries to anyway.
I mean, it tries, but bro, this is next gen, man.
Okay.
Man, this Rattler is rude, man.
He's already in here, is he?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is it, guys. Welcome to the first podcast episode of the Rainbow Six Siege South Asian podcast. And I truly appreciate that everyone came in and everyone, try to manage some of the times in their busy lives. I know everybody's busy these in their IELTS stuff and all. And so I'll go with the intro. Ashrit over here is the current coach of the one of the best teams in our South Asian region. My bad. The Mercenaries, Atharv. Definitely one of the best professional players in our region from Kira Esports. Baba Gusta, one of the finest casters in our country.
Why is he laughing, dude?
I'm laughing. Not the way did he?
Oh.
Okay. Oh,
Oh,
technical
dude.
difficulties.
This
This is
gone.
the most.
And
Good
Black
segment
Shag over here
for
is
the
one of the
episode.
another old casters, like the old by not by the age. One of the first and the to be said one of the best casters, siege caster in our country, and also the guy who loves Genshin Impact very much. I got that right.
Yeah, Genshin
Yeah.
Impact, yeah.
So the first topic that we were about to start, like what is essay, and of course the intro part, the main thing for today's topic.
Mm.
So who's gonna start? I'm the host. I'll stay quiet.
Just throwing us all on the bus, I see, right off the gate. All right. Well, if by me speaking right now you're thinking I'm about to take the lead, no, I'm not. I'm actually going to throw Ashad under the bus. Ashad, get over here.
Huh? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh. So, right now, the first topic for the day would be introducing people to the overall history of like siege in the region, right? So, where do we start? I think it goes a long way back.
Oh yeah.
Like the only time about which I don't know much is the 2018 period where we had that IGC tournament, was it?
ICGC, yeah.
ICGC,
Mm.
yeah.
Yep.
So it had global esports like the then Vector Sports and then CSBD guys from Bangladesh back in the day. And then the even weaker part for me to explain would be all of the Bangladesh tournaments, man. Like the
Ah,
local lands they had over there, that is just insane.
mm.
Like, sure, Liquipedia won't have it. Sure, internationally, no one knows about it. But that was a huge player base back then.
Yep. There was so many players.
Yeah.
And honestly, like just the scene we've already seen, over the years, just how great it can be. Like, sure, say what you will about how it is now, but especially around the time I came in, 2019, 2020, there were some real, big moves being made. And the South Asian region actually seemed like it was growing, even though, between me and my own friends, there's a bit of a sentiment that by the time I came in, things were slowly slowing down. But hey, we're not here to talk about that, are we? We're here to talk about some of the best
Yeah.
moments that we have had in this region. And I like Bullet called me old in the scene. I'm not actually that old. I only really properly started 2013 onwards, right? uh 13,
13.
yes, of course, 2013. The scene wasn't even around, but hey, I'm here. 2020 onwards was when I really started casting for the entire region. Before that, I'd only done like small community tournaments, a couple of lands here in Calcutta. But Baba was around slightly earlier than I was, and he's actually got a pretty good memory, uh, pretty good recollection of events. So Baba, what would you say? 2018 to 2020, SA South Asia Rainbow Six.
I mean, it's a long story because me and Foxy, both of us were currently studying for BTech in Hyderabad. Okay,
Mm,
and then suddenly in year three or year four, I was just normally streaming on Twitch. I was just streaming Siege, and then suddenly at some certain day, we were just walking together back to the hostel, and the first thing that Foxy said was, "Baba, I'd love to collaborate with you someday."
mm.
And that
One thing to
collaboration,
be pointed out.
yeah,
You
yeah,
and Foxy were in the same college because you said hostel.
yes,
Okay,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
cool.
Me
Okay,
and Hetvora, yes, both of us were currently pursuing BTech in
okay,
Hyderabad.
okay.
I think
So
mostly the entire team domination team was in Hyderabad.
yeah, the entire team domination
Yeah.
was in
Mm.
Hyderabad, and
Okay.
the funniest part about it was all five of them were currently pursuing BTech. So
तो सीज
when
सीज का
yeah,
वायरस
everyone
कहाँ
was
से
pursuing
फैला
BTech, yeah.
सीज का वायरस कहाँ से फैला समझ जाओ guys.
Yeah, I mean, like when Foxy said, "I'd love to collaborate with you someday," that
Yeah.
collaboration changed to casting immediately. He just called me. Foxy was like, "Baba, do you want to cast?" Yes, of course. I know that you don't have any experience, but slots are open. You can try it out. So I did it, and that's exactly where I started my entire journey with Foxy in 2018. Of course, starting pay, I wasn't doing well while I was casting, but I gradually improved a bit. I mean, I was with Jack as well when we
Mm.
were casting for TC's league as well, right?
Oh
The
yeah,
pro
oh yeah.
leagues.
Couple of years ago,
Five,
yeah.
yeah, like I would say it was a total of 10 months that we've casted together. Me, you, and Foxy, all three
Mm.
of
Yeah.
us, and we had
Yeah.
a blast having
Yeah.
casting alongside with us. Despite having some issues on our end, in the end, we did
Yeah,
have
you
fun.
know,
So yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, that's where my journey came to a start. And Foxy, when he saw Jack's ward, he saw the amount of
Yes.
he saw his performance like when he was doing on local tournaments, and Foxy was like, "Let's give Jack a try and see
Okay,
how it
Jack.
works."
Okay.
And it's just
Yeah,
increased so much. Yeah,
I still have to get
Are
back
you
with
ready to rumble?
yeah.
oh
Oh, bro, like thanks to
uh
Foxy, we got it, dude.
yeah.
Worth it, 10
I
and
mean,
10 worth it.
not just Foxy, of course, thanks to the esports club, for giving me that chance to begin with. And one person who doesn't really get mentioned much, but I should, because without him badgering Foxy to see the VODs to begin with, I wouldn't be here. Two people. Eisen, my best friend basically, and Sonic or Short of Bonic. I don't know how people might know him. He's more of
Yeah,
a
Sonic.
streamer,
Yeah.
just a bit of a general streamer in the Indian country. But both of those two basically. Foxy came to Calcutta one day, and he was at this gaming cafe that we used to frequent, and we were there. We were all there that day, right? So Eisen and Sonic took it upon themselves to basically take him to a
Yeah.
corner and show him my vods. That's not an exaggeration. Foxy and Sonic, went out of the cafe to get something, and that's when Sonic started talking about this. And the Eisen saw them, and he's like, you know what? I'll join. And they kept telling him to take me on, right? And yeah, that's kind of how that started. And we all know where that's been since. I got my own catchphrase, and here we are, SAR6 Podcast 2022. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
actually, Foxy was really good at finding talent, I would say. Even like back in June 2019. So I don't know how many of you like remember there was this Kryptonite LAN event. Where was it even? Somewhere
Mm.
in Gujarat.
Ahmedabad. I'm
Ahmedabad,
pretty
huh?
sure.
It,
Yeah.
it had it had level 0 and like the then Mammoth Gaming or
Akatsuki.
whatever. Playing in the finals.
Yeah.
Nahin, Akatsuki wasn't there,
Yeah,
na
it
na.
was there. It was there. Except, but this was not the roster. It was Doa, Rattler, Amar, Ishan.
Acha, huh.
Yeah,
They,
and
they would
Buckshot.
be in the top four. Yeah. So like there's a best of five grand finals the next day and he just calls me up, hey Ashra, do you wanna cast? I was like, damn, from no opportunity to such see the best of five grand finals. Then like our scene had even more good casters back then. There was Tech,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
was
this is
Uh,
this is which year, by the way, we are discussing right now. Which year?
2019.
20,
1819.
29.
Huh.
29. Okay.
So good times, man. Those were good times. Like the funniest part back then was that even though there was no international way like for us to get into the circuit, the scene in itself was regulating. Like the rise of
I
refill
agree with that
event
part.
took place, the small tournaments back then were still taking place. People held their interest on for this game till 2020 somehow. And if this was any other region, any other first world country, they would have left this game long ago.
Yeah.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
I still
I
remember
agree.
the amount of excitement everybody had when we had the first local major, the August major.
Mm.
It was crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. The energy for the August major, and even like subsequent majors, like sure it was a like going down slightly, but that August major, that energy is just it's unforgettable. Really, it was an online event, sure, but just wonderful times.
Yeah, I mean, I just like how Hap and Fluke kept talking about the pole being struck by the truck. It was just they had to just increase the
Ah,
entire
yes.
segment
Oh,
because of
I
that.
guess you don't know the backstory. So
Hmm?
during that
Mhm.
stage, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
during the South Asian Nationals, the first match of South Asian Nationals, mind you, I
Right.
got locked out of my room. The match started,
Oh no.
Oh
and the
no.
key broke.
Oh,
Oh.
So
Oh.
this story was not
Oh,
public, I think, and I had to break in the door to reach for the match. Legit, I broke the door, and the whole lock was like stuck onto the door frame, and I
Wow.
went in and I was playing the game. So that's how hyped it was.
Okay, so technically, you asked for Sledge's hammer to breach the door. Got it.
I did have
Ah,
it.
yeah,
oh,
that
nice,
that
nice,
would have been.
nice.
nice.
So it would be more of a desi sledge, more like Daya,
Daya darwaza todo.
Yes.
Uh,
Uh, yeah.
So yeah, so
I
we
mean,
were,
oh, yeah,
please go on. Sorry.
yeah, you go ahead. No, no, no.
Baba.
I was just exclaiming nothing much. You go ahead, man.
Yeah, it was just like, yeah, being that guy from the console side. I was just just seeing all from the internet itself. Like we all are discovering each of ourselves from the internet, and of course thanks to Siege, right? But from a outside perspective, it was looking very very shiny and very very like, okay, if things can happen on console. But this is way back in 2018, I guess. So this is my थोड़ा सा like मेरा अगर intro मैं अपना देना चाहूँ तो I was thinking कि why is not console? Why is only PC? I was like too very young to understand like console esports has no future, right? And especially in India, especially in a region like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and all that region. Console esports is not promoted that well with other games. Now, where is a third? बार बार ऐसे थोड़ा सा ऐसा हो
I
जाता है.
just DC'd for a second.
हाँ.
it happens.
Can't
Happens.
be a South Asian podcast unless something.
Yeah.
The only thing left is a rehost. I'll be honest with you. The only thing left is a
Rehost.
rehost.
Imagine
Move
my
this episode, you guys.
imagine my lights go out in middle of
Yo,
all
I
I
need a
talk.
pause.
So yeah, I was just thinking ki, like why there are no console siege tournaments? Why there is not like I'm too bored of playing in gold lobbies. उस time मैं gold में था, plat नहीं पहुंचा था. I was like too bored of playing in gold lobbies. I wanna play competitive. I wanna play and present my region. At that time, I decided to do a tournament by myself. And I have some of my guys who were actually being the tournament moderators. I think they are in the chat, Bunny and Omer. Few of the guys who were ready to moderate and regulate tournament and help with me. And I remember there were more than 200 teams, console teams, more than 200 of them, and we have to filter them out because of some issues. Because one was the MNK issue, second one was somewhere not regulating. Because I made a rule, I made a very very stupid rule on my rule book. Ki if you are like, if we another four guys from our tournament side of things, if we suspect you that you are using MNK on a console on a PlayStation, we will video call you. At that time, everybody had WhatsApp, so we will just video call you, and you have to play one single round by showing your controller. So, कुछ ऐसा था हमने दिखाया like please एक round तो आप कुछ ऐसा रख के खेल सकते हो, because this is what happens now. Like console पे you don't have any option to put on a webcam and that I can show to the viewers. उस time तो OBS भी नहीं था. And by the way, this whole tournament was like done from 2 or 3 guys PS4. No PC involvement, nothing. कुछ भी OBS पे नहीं. I think I still have that VOD somewhere in my channel. मैंने बहुत ज़्यादा private भी किया, बहुत ज़्यादा toxic भी हो गया था वो. कुछ players लड़ाई हो गई थी on screen. And that had almost the highest peak was 200 plus watching, and 175 180 was the normal, जो top 3 और the starting के matches थे. बीच बीच में कुछ teams के matches कोई interested नहीं था. So that was where I
Hmm.
began. And after that, I think I did 4 or 3 tournaments. कुछ भी कुछ, no brand involvement, no prize money, कुछ भी नहीं. It was just like for the love of the game, for the passion of the game, and we are just too bored of playing rank. And जब
Yeah.
PC में हो सकता है चीजें, तो यहाँ भी हम लोग कुछ बड़ा कर सकते हैं.
I
But you know,
think
yeah,
I
please go
think
on.
like inadvertently he led us to the very good topic, that is
Hmm.
viewership in the past.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think Siege has had
yeah,
good viewership in the past, right? Like barring a couple of tiers with their title problems for their like YouTube videos and whatnot. Like majority of the tournaments, like if you look at like I mostly remember the ones on Facebook, and then even if you see the nationals, like
yeah.
400 to 500 viewers on average in any major
Hmm.
tournament on
Yeah.
Twitch, and then on Facebook it was in the thousands sometimes. So like we had the viewership, we had the interest, and like the teams back then also were very fun to watch. I think
Oh
like
yeah, yeah. There was
Yeah,
a good variety in teams and team strats as well. Some of the matches that me and Baba got the honor to cast, like man, I still remember some of those plays. Like, sure, maybe the names might have faded. Maybe I don't exactly remember when and where. My memory's not the best, everyone, but
same here.
just some of those moments I will never forget. You know, like we have seen some fantastic games, and I think it needs to be emphasized that sure, wherever we are now, there's always that potential. You know, some have differing opinions of where the scene is today, and I get that. You know, it's a bit of a weird place. I think we can all agree.
True,
But for me, I will always see it as like there's a spark is there, but it needs a kindle. You know, it needs that a little bit more of a push, and
true,
this region
true.
can still grow into something really
yeah,
really big.
I think like stage 3 had Kickstarter not like expired, it was the best opportunity available to anybody out there to support the viewership of the region, because
Hmm.
I think stage 3 matches were really good, but then they decided to just not stream any of it.
Yeah, yeah,
And even in stage 2, if you remember, like stage 1, the community was good like in that. So I think 75-80% of the games in stage 1 were streamed. Then stage 2 we were kind of lackluster, we only streamed the last 2 days and the last match of the second last day also. So I think like that was a missed opportunity, because the viewership for the nationals was always good.
yeah. The viewership for the nationals were very very good. I still remember. I don't exactly remember which one it was, but one of the nationals we even managed to a number that beat out another national that was running at the same time. Like I think still in like the South APAC region. I just don't remember which part of South APAC because there's quite a few right out there. But overall, I still feel like this region has like something here. You know, like just there's an energy. There's something here to be tapped into. But I guess we'll see. You know.
Yeah, like the show must go on, I would say.
Yeah. It. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the best part about SN Nationals was that we somehow managed to bring in Infi and Ewok into
Oh
the cast.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
Yeah. We
remember.
had Infian for the
And
cast. Oh
and
man.
even on this on the finals as well, I believe that was MRCC versus Kira. It used to have like more than 500 average viewers watching the stream
Hmm.
currently just to watch the finals. So it was huge, specifically on the Asian Nationals side. And yeah, talk about Kira's performance too. You know, defeating CAG was like a huge win for them. I mean, especially on the first one though. But
Hmm.
I mean, afterwards on BO1s and
That down.
BO3s, it's just gone down. But
South Asia
eventually,
was the cat
here's the thing.
killer.
Here's the thing. When it comes to getting international exposure, I can understand how much pressure that you have to go through. You know,
Yeah.
no
Exactly,
matter if it's no matter
exactly.
if you're going up against Fnatic, no matter if you're going up against any high tier, that pressure will always be there because you just had exposure to the international scene for the first time. So
True.
you just need a lot of time to practice. And you know, with a total of how much we just had like a total of 2 to 3 SA nationals events, right? So if we just keep practicing, if we just try to understand to maintain not only just our composure but also to try to strategize well with our teams, I could say that there is a lot of chance for SA to for SA to grow up. All it has to do is just just keep practicing, just try to understand, and also just keep calm on certain methods. If that works out, then I can say the entire scene itself can grow up.
I think if the nationals were a league instead of a playoff, like the Oceanic and the other regions, it would have been like better for us in the playoffs, because
Yeah, I
the
kind of
region
agree
as a
with
whole
this
does
part.
not have a
Yeah,
good best of three experience. Like
yeah.
Hmm.
best of ones, sure, we beat CAG. We were super close against majority of the teams that we played against as a region. But in terms of best of three, like the lack of variety and just the like lack of comfort in playing best of threes was very apparently visible, because by the time the third map came about, none of our teams did well. But the first two maps were very competitive. So if it were to be a league instead of just a double elimination, we could have been doing well, because like every other tournament, if you remember back in the day, the TEC league was also a best of one. Then the
Yeah.
qualifiers were also a best of one for the nationals itself.
Hmm.
So like lack of best of three experience, I think, was a big reason there.
I think it says something about the whole idea of a best of one being involved in higher stakes tournaments. Just I don't agree with it, like personally speaking. Right, best of threes are to me where Siege is at its best, but at the same time, best of threes can get exhausting, especially when played back to
When it
back.
comes to Siege, yeah, it definitely gets
Yeah.
exhausting. It
So like
definitely gets
there's a
exhausting.
balance there that needs to be found, and I don't
Yeah.
think best of ones any more than the qualifiers is actually necessary, because after that point, to get a real like idea of how a team plays and a real idea of their not just their frag ability or their intel gathering ability, but more so about their endurance, which matters a lot in long form
Exactly.
tournaments.
True.
Best of threes are the best place to be. BO5s finals, that's it. BO5s are too long otherwise, but BO1s are too short. They don't allow for much in the way of learning and growing alongside your opponent. So there's a balance in there somewhere that needs to be found. I still feel like.
I think in a league, best of ones does make sense a bit, at least in
League
the
man.
sub tier. Yeah, but in knockouts, best of one is like a huge risk.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like people are very they adapt to the gameplay, right? Usually,
Hmm.
and coming into suddenly, like who doesn't know? Like suppose you don't know your opponent, basically, right? You're playing against some new team. You have never played against them. And again, tournament gameplay and practice gameplay is way different for some
Yeah,
teams.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
So
True.
Yeah.
suddenly
True.
coming into that match is very awkward, right? You don't know what their pace would be, and the moment you try to get adapt, oh no, the BO1 is already over. We lost, guys. So that kind of potential, right? It's kind of lost over there
Hmm.
in that quick map.
Yeah, I could say the same on SA national
I had
qualifiers
just one
too.
question before you continue, Baba. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
both
go.
have casted Valorant, right? We are
Yeah,
now into
Yeah,
other games,
yeah.
right? They are best of threes. They are best of threes. But you can see a mark where, because siege games are just longer if they are even like, if we like say like T2 teams. Like take it for example, the T2 SA teams. Siege will be longer compared to the other games. So I just feel in a way कि like with that point Atharv and I should say, in league format the best of one is the best thing, because like from every perspective, right? You have to see the if the casters are able to cope up with it. That is something other topic that I'm putting in, but there are many, like you have to see every perspective from that, and I have to explain to the viewers, like when it comes to other games, BO3, BO5 can be done. It can be done in BGMI, it can be done in Free Fire, it can be done in the other titles. But when it comes to the longer, like take it for example, what if Valorant had a round? Valorant में कितने minutes का round होता है? Because I haven't played Valorant. 2 minutes
I
or
could say,
I think
yeah, it should
one
be
minute
around a
40 seconds.
one
Yeah,
one
somewhere
minute and
around
Something like
40
there.
that.
1 minute and 40 seconds, and then you have siege going around 2 minutes and 59.
Yeah.
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 So that is the main part कि like BO3 के अलावा कोई option नहीं बचता है in siege. And I think the only solution towards it कि अगर league format है तो like even the UB, even the SNSO should be like या तो उसको league कर दो. And one thing I just want to add to that कि I kind of see the region partiality. सिंपल एज दैट. ऐसे एन का प्राइस पूल देखो और बाकी अदर रीजन्स का सेम का मेजर का प्राइस पूल देखो. दैट डजंट मेक सेंस टू मी, being very
Yeah.
honest over here. Price pool matters a lot, money matters a lot in esports, for player, for every other who is involved. Money matters a lot, because this is what puts food on the table. But other things also that is in Valorant 2, उसके रिगार्डिंग भी काफी ज्यादा बातचीत चली थी इन द Valorant कम्युनिटी ओवरऑल, हमारे जो साउथ का है, कि स्लॉट्स का अब अगर आप देखो तो वैलोरेंट में भी इन द साउथ इफेक्ट देयर वर ओनली वन स्लॉट कंपेयर्ड टू लास्ट ईयर, अब 2 स्लॉट हुआ है. एंड स्टिल फ्रॉम हियर इन आवर सेम, इफ वी टॉक अबाउट द मोर इनटू सीज पार्ट, देयर इज ओनली जस्ट वन slot, and that compares the whole APAC, and then you have to compete teams like CAG from
Hmm.
Japan.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense, to be
I
very
think
honest.
like it also
Yes,
points
yes,
to a
please
bigger
go on.
problem. It was not just the like lower price pool, but the bigger problem was that the price pool was only being given to the top three teams in the
Top three.
country region. And then
Yeah, yeah,
शेर के
same,
मुंह में
same.
जब तक लहू नहीं लगेगा तब तक शेर शिकार पे कैसे जाएगा? Like sorry, I'm talking in Hindi, like
अरे
interjecting with
हाँ,
that.
go on,
Like,
no
No, no,
problem.
It's all right. Go
It's
ahead.
fine.
Go ahead.
but the fact is, if the bottom team is not being motivated enough, even if you don't give them like the smallest slice
True,
of a pie,
true,
once it goes to a team,
true.
right, it will motivate both them to do better, and
Yep.
it will also make sure that the talent at the top of the stack does not get stagnant. Because I think our teams in 2020 had more potential to do better in international
I agree with this
events
part.
than in 2021, because in
I
2021 I
agree
saw
with this
some
part.
stagnation at the topmost level, because there
Yeah.
was no competition. So why will they improve? They'll see that, hey, this method is working for us, we'll keep doing the same. But
Yeah, I
then the
agree with
meta
this
moves
part.
forward, it doesn't wait for you. That was the problem
Mm.
in 2021.
So my friends, okay, I've seen that mentality who try to compete in a region is ki our top three spots, these three teams will just take away. So I'm to like they don't even expect to win. That's how their
Yep.
mentality is. And there is no prize pool, like prize money for anything except for the top three. Why should we even try? Like that is the mentality. Why should we even try? Like I know that's a very loser move to do it. I get it, but still, like without trying, there should be a motivator to do something, right? Either your games game stream that you want to get some fame, or
Yeah,
you
the
get
game
some
stream
prize
part.
money.
Yeah, the game
Yeah.
stream
So
part. Even I agree with this part, because
yeah,
मैं console वाला, मैं PC उतना follow up करता नहीं हूँ. But अगर मेरे region का कोई like player team is representing ourselves and कुछ हो रहा है बहुत बड़ा, just wanna see it. है ही नहीं. They're just की semi-finale and finale हो रहा था, and for that you have to like go towards the side of community. This is what happens in the other. क्योंकि see, even if like the UB is not following this up, तो other local TOs also this follow, like इस चीज को follow up नहीं करते हैं. हम नहीं करवाएंगे qualifiers के लिए, मतलब समझ रहे हो? उनको लगता है कि भाई
yeah.
अगर UB भी अगर ऐसा नहीं कर रही है तो हम भी नहीं करेंगे. तो that just give out a wrong message kind of thingy कि like वो फिर एक हो जाता है ना कि लाइक अगर इसको मैं थोड़ा सरल भाषा में बोलूँ, जस्ट लाइक इफ द मॉनिटर ऑफ द क्लास इज नॉट फॉलोइंग द रूल्स, व्हाई वुड एनी स्टूडेंट विल डू. सिंपल इज दैट. कि अगर आप एक 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 पाथ सेट बना दोगे, एक सेट कर दोगे बाय यूबी, तो उसको हर कोई लोकल टीओ भी फॉलो अप करेगा. कि अगर हम सीज का कोई टूर्नामेंट करा रहे हैं, चाहे वो ब्रैकेट स्टेज हो, डिपेंड्स ऑन द एवरी अदर पार्ट, बजट एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ. तो वी शुड एटलीस्ट ट्राई टू लाइक कि हाँ, अगर हमारे पास टेक फॉर एग्जांपल 16 टीम्स हैं, तो वी कैन जस्ट डू द स्ट्रीम्स फ्रॉम द राउंड 2. ओवरऑल इट जस्ट पुट्स मोर एक्सपोजर, राइट?
Yeah.
जस्ट फील दैट स्ट्रीम वाले पार्ट के लिए मैंने ये बात बोला मैंने कि आई जस्ट
Like,
फील कि अब थोड़ा सा पार्शियलिटी टुवर्ड्स द रीजन तो है. एंड I agree with this part. Take it for the console side of things. Example R6 में NA like छोड़ ना, NA भी छोड़ दो. अगर मैं गलत नहीं हूँ तो प्ले स्टेशन पे देयर इज अ टूर्नामेंट काइंड ऑफ थिंग, जिसमें सिर्फ और सिर्फ यूएई के प्लेयर्स को थोड़ा सा वो मिल रहा है. अगर वो पहले रिपोर्ट इन कर दे रहे हैं इन द टूर्नामेंट सेक्टर, तो टूर्नामेंट वाले ऑप्शन में तो उनका पहले रिपोर्ट इन हो जाता है. बट यहाँ के बंदे को उनके सर्वर पे जाके खेलना पड़ता है. दैट डजंट मेक एनी सेंस. कि अगर इफ वी हैव द सी सर्वर, इफ वी हैव, तो वी कैन प्ले ऑन दैट. तो वो चीज़ तो है, पार्शियलिटी वाला चीज़ तो दैट कैन नॉट बी इग्नोर द फैक्ट टू द जनरल ऑडियंस एज वेल. एंड या फिर जो थोड़ा बहुत भी सीन में जिनको पहले से एक्सपीरियंस है, इट कैन नॉट बी जस्ट इग्नोर्ड कि थोड़ा पार्शियलिटी तो है. टेक इट फॉर एग्जाम्पल यार, इफ ऐसे नेशनल्स कैन बी डन फॉर द पीसी सीन, व्हाई इट कैन नॉट बी डन फॉर द कंसोल सीन? जस्ट सिंपल एज दैट. व्हाई इट कैन नॉट बी डन? आप थोड़ा एफर्ट्स लगाओगे तो ओवरऑल ecosystem of the siege will in the region will just grow up more and more. Harshit, please go on what you were saying. मैं सब बीच में काट बोल देता हूँ.
नहीं, like regarding the console scene, I won't speak much, but I think it's very clear from their conduct that after 2018 they treated it like a secondary market and not the primary.
Yeah,
So
for esports, yeah, I agree
so
with that.
if they did not like improve as quickly regarding the PC scene in our region, then expecting them to do it very quickly in console would
Yeah,
be
I would be
little
agree.
bit like out there. but like I can't comment more than that on the console space. But like basically the problem, other than that, I want to touch upon our performances like in the
Please
playoffs.
go on.
So uh, where did the tab go? Yeah. So stage two, the very first game in the playoffs, we get a best of one against Ram1 Gaming, Kira Esports. Then in the lower bracket, it's once it is Fav, and even in the Fav game, I think Kira was really close on Villa. Am I right, Athar?
Yeah, it was OT.
Yeah.
OT,
So
even on the third map too, right? Decider map.
No, we didn't go to the decider map. We lost
Oh,
the first map and then we lost the second map as well.
yeah,
But
that's the thing. Like
the momentum
every
was also
single,
lost.
yeah, there are some BO3 moments where I saw either MRCZ or Kira end up in an OT loss, or
OT
sometimes
loss.
we might go on sorry, on decider map, which in fact is I would like to call as progress. I'm not saying that it's actually a bad thing, but seeing you guys go the distance, going head to head against the best teams in the South APAC region, CAG, Kira did defeat CAG in a best of one format, but the, like wait, that's what I'm trying to say. Like second or third map, going to OTs, going to decider is actually a good progress coming in from our side. It's just it needs more time.
Yes.
And the more time you have and the more time you dedicate on practicing on the game, I can say you can progress even more forward. And who knows, we might
Absolutely. I
have a
mean,
chance to take our players.
yeah,
Sorry,
like Baba
teams,
said,
yeah.
there's absolutely a case to be made about the fact that for a majority of the existence of the scene, for a majority of the time that the South Asian Rainbow Six scene has existed, we've like the teams here have mostly really played against each other in a closed loop, right? Without too much international exposure per se, outside of practice matches. But as was pointed out, Atharv, I think you said it, that it's very different playing a practice game and playing an actual tournament with stakes, and a tournament spot on the line and all that. It gets
Yeah.
very different when you're actually in that
Yeah.
scenario. And some would say that coming to South Asia, like incorporating our region in year 5 alone might have been a bit late, but it was a start, right? It was a start. It was going to go somewhere. There was international exposure, but it wasn't enough, right? So going forward, I think keeping that in mind, whatever is organized, whatever comes, that needs to be kept in mind. International exposure needs to be there so that teams from here can eventually start performing better just against APAC. And
Yeah.
as we get better against APAC, we start getting even more wider exposure to teams from EU, NA, LATAM
True.
eventually at some point.
True.
And once that happens, SA can really make a point for itself. Like how APAC did when it first came onto the scene in general against NA, EU, and LATAM. I feel like South Asia is basically just a slightly smaller version of APAC as a whole. Pardon me for the slightly crude analogy. But that's just how I feel about it.
yeah, like I'll expand on that a bit. So basically, when you scrim the international teams, right, both of you have the idea that you want to try something out. The
Yeah,
idea there is
exactly.
not to win. And when it comes to winning, the winning part, right, the foreign teams just have that much more experience when, like, as compared to you, particularly in terms of how they adapt, that you just won't be able to do it in a scrim. No matter, like, you can scrim the international teams 30 times a week, and still in the tournament they'll do the things that they won't do in scrims. Why? Because
Exactly.
Yeah,
they
Exactly.
are just doing things to try out things in scrims. Like, that is the drift of it basically.
Even if you look at the numbers, right? Like, for example, I'll tell you, a friend of mine told me this, that a team they were scrimming, they went like 11 rounds win in a scrim. Like, it's 12 rounds, right? 11 rounds win. And then a same skill level team lost to like 7-2 against them just because it was a tournament. Like, the amount of difference in the gameplay is just way too much. Like, I'm not gonna go try to do a, what say, I'm not gonna, in 3v5 for example, I'm still trying to do the sorry for that,
Chill, chill, chill,
methodological.
chill,
Yeah,
chill,
yeah.
chill.
तो मैं तरीके से push करने का कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, right? So I'll
Uh,
try to still breach the wall. I will still try to get the plant done in a 3v5 just to know if it's possible in a scrim. But if it's a tournament, I will not think about it. I will see, oh, it's a 3v5, now we need man advantage. I will walk into some door, I will kill 3 people, and I'll take the lead, and then I'll plant the bomb. Like, that kind of differences is not seen in scrims basically. So that skill level is always left behind a bit because of the experience.
I'm not gonna lie.
this
I do have
this
an idea there.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
So
I actually have to say one thing,
yeah.
Athar.
Please go on.
Whenever I see you play Jaeger, na, every time you always roam, and whenever I see a 3v5 situation, Athar's immediate reaction is the same thing. I have to equalize it to 3, and sometimes you always get one or two kills just like that. I
yeah,
always
because
keeps wondering, how do you do it?
I mean, you have to admire, yeah, Atar definitely has shown some great consistency in those
thank
situations,
you,
you
Yeah.
thank
know,
you.
which very, very commendable, yeah.
बंदा ब्लश कर रहा है.
यार इतना
Yeah.
No.
इंग्लिश पहले हगने के बाद
अरे
यही
chill,
होता
chill, chill,
है.
chill. I definitely agree with this part, but this is not the state of just siege. This is everywhere. But
Yeah,
every PC game, मैं फ्री फायर बीजीएमआई नहीं ला रहा क्योंकि कास्ट करता हूँ. I'm just keeping on a say. This goes for Valorant too. When the other हमारे रीजन के जो टॉप टीम्स होते हैं, take it anyone, जब जाते हैं, they try to give their best, but eventually group stage पे वहाँ पे group seed में भी they lose out. And the only reason that I see over internet is just not playing and they are just performing. The point what Ashrit said कि scrims में things go different, but in when the tournament is state वो कुछ ऐसा different करते हैं, just they show very very exceptional and very good gameplay, and the teams are done and dusted. Simple as that. So I kind of agree with that part where I think Music J is in chat where he commented on and परसों तरसों उसको ईशान आर्य ने retweet किया था कि जो एक होता है ना सेक्टर पूरा कंप्रहेंसिव टूर्नामेंट का, एंड ये चीज़ मर्सनरीज के भी काफ़ी कुछ प्लेयर्स ने काफ़ी टाइम पहले ट्वीट किया था कि सिर्फ अपने रीजन के प्लेयर्स के साथ खेलने से वो चीज़ नहीं होगा. यू हैव टू लाइक एक ऐसा फॉर्मेट हो, कोई टीओ आ गया इस चीज़ को आके करे या कोई कम्युनिटी का ही कोई बंदा करे कि समहाउ गेट इट अरेंज. बट देयर शुड बी लाइक कि हाँ कभी कभी लाइक दूसरे रीजन के साथ के प्लेयर्स के साथ, सॉरी टीम्स के साथ आपको खेलना पड़ेगा विद समथिंग एट स्टेक प्रोबेबली. देन ओनली दैट डिफरेंस कैन बी थोड़ा सा जस्ट लाइक कि अगर ब्रोंज रैंक का बंदा अगर ब्रोंज रैंक में खेलता रहेगा तो विल नेवर लर्न कि एक ब्रोंज और एक डायमंड गेम प्ले लॉग में क्या फर्क होता है. इट्स जस्ट सिंपल एज दैट. इट्स जस्ट
Yeah,
सिंपल एज दैट.
yeah,
Siege has a huge learning curve. Yeah, I
Definitely.
learned.
I
It has a
do have
very huge
one
learning
idea
curve.
regarding that. I don't know how many of you watched the development regarding the SI qualifiers in December 2021. So the interesting part in that tournament was the team that actually qualified out of it was V9 and not Direwolves. In the very finals, V9 is a Hong Kong-based team. It beat Direwolves 2-1, and Direwolves is an APAC league playing team. Okay, and Hong Kong is nowhere in the circuit. So stuff like that, and even the other team that did very well in it was MIG, bro. MIG was in the top 8 for that.
Mm.
yeah. No one
Yeah,
noticed that actually, but they were in the top. They were almost gonna defeat Direwolves if you look at the score.
yeah. Like the Oregon rounds was super close. So my friend
Yeah,
Cypher was playing in that, and it was a close series. So if we can get tournaments like that in our region, no, then that would really expose the skill level of some of the like lesser known countries. That includes Hong Kong. That includes us. Like right now, we should not be just be thinking about us four countries. We need to give ideas that work for APAC as a whole
On a
also,
wider scale,
because
yeah.
we are part of APAC. So in that event, it just really showed. Then like teams from the Oceanic Challenger League that were nowhere, they did really well up to the semifinals. So like we could have a tournament like that with not a very big prize pool, but a chance to get exposed to how the other teams play in the region. Like imagine that same SI qualifier being a best of three instead of a best of one, split into groups. Price pool maybe nothing, but the amount of experience you give people could be worth it, like.
Just to get it started, an idea like that I can definitely see working. One thing, they would have to definitely work around is it would have to be online, at least initially,
Yeah,
right?
that it has to.
Which would of course bring in the ever present issue of ping, and we all
yeah.
know how ping works. Yep, we all know how ping works with this game that we also love. And I
We
mean,
use
just
the Z
speaking for
button for
myself.
ping, Jack.
Man, this ping, like it just
We
dies
use
out.
the
The
Z
internet
button for
legit
ping.
dies out.
It really does. Even like for me, I get like 6870s connecting to Singapore as I am right now, right?
uh,
Even
Yeah.
there.
Jack,
Sometimes it
sorry to
can be.
interrupt you, but do you know that teams were given what is it called, VPNs to play the
I
playoffs
have heard
and
of this.
the
Yes, I have heard of
and
this.
the
Still
national
didn't
playoffs
fix
as
it.
well?
That's the issue, right? During the Fav game, okay, let me just clarify. I dropped out of the VPN, okay? I
Okay.
didn't even know I was dropped off the VPN. Suddenly the admin comes in, he pauses the entire match, and he's like, "Why are you off the VPN?" So you don't even know that you DC'd for a second. Like
Really?
that's how bad the internet connections are in this country. They
Yeesh.
are good in quantity. Let me get you. I get like
Ah, yeah,
1
yeah.
Gbps for very cheap. But the thing is, it doesn't stay that stable. I live in Bangalore and I get 100 ping to Singapore.
Which ISP you have?
Mm.
Hey, yaar, local. Like I can't get a good reputed ISP because of the location. That's why.
Understandable.
Yeah,
Understandable.
it still
Understandable.
That
drops out for
also
a second.
happens. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're currently still in Bangalore, Athar, or someplace else
Yeah,
now?
I'm in Bangalore right now. I kept shifting in the last 3 years for like 4 places. So
Oh,
during August major, I was like in Maharashtra, then in
yeah,
Madhya
yeah.
Pradesh, Bangalore, Karnataka.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well,
So
I
like
don't know.
even if you have the best internet, a truck could at any point collapse into a
Yeah,
field.
collapsed into
क्या
electric
ही
tool.
कर लोगे उसके बाद?
Yep.
Which is funny you say that because I don't know how many of you have been seeing the chat, but the guy I was talking about before, Eisen, he's been in the chat fairly
Yeah.
consistently, talking alongside us, as it were. He had the same happen to him. It wasn't the phone line though; it was the entire power line of his neighborhood that uh, truck crashed into. Just hilarious. I called him in the morning, like, "Yo,
Yeah.
why are you not
Yeah,
on
like,
Discord? We were supposed to play
like,
something that
both
day." And he was
funny.
just like, "Yeah, no, a truck crashed into my power line, believe it or not." And he was out of power all day. It was uh lovely.
I mean, when
Actually,
it
it's
comes
the
to
क्या
physical
बना रहा है या पी रहा है कुछ
difference.
तो
Like,
ये तो
yeah,
कोल्ड कॉफी
But
बनाना
like Athar,
है
surely such issues will be there. That is a
yeah,
geographical
अभी
problem.
सोया
But
नहीं
at
है
least
वो
yeah,
we as
दूसरे में
a
वेबसाइट से
group can try, right?
yeah.
हाँ
We definitely do try a lot.
तू
That
बना यार
what
And
I've
वैसे ही
seen.
बना देंगे
and
क्या
the
बन
thing
रहा
is that
है
right
कॉफी तो
now
पीने
we are
को दो
stuck in the loop of okay, our host is currently AFK, so I guess we should wait for him.
No, I'm off. I'm not AFK. I'm just talking to my friend. I'm not AFK.
Okay,
I'm,
okay,
I'm,
okay.
I'm all ears. I'm all ears. I'm all
So
ears.
so
Hey,
basically what my thought process is that like even though we are
कल
in the
पिलाता हूँ संडे
soon R6 situation right now,
Yep.
but like we regulated ourselves as a region for 4 years without any Ubisoft recognition. We had all of those lands, those small tournaments. In
yeah.
2019 we even had a small tournament organized by the community itself, ISCL.
Mm.
Athar, do you remember that one?
Which one?
ICL, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Indian Siege Community League or something it was called.
yeah.
So our
See,
region has a tendency to be dependent and like survive on its own. And the good part is the meta right now is very fun. It's not the boring defensive meta that it was. Attacks have
Oh
a really
yeah.
good
the
chance to
game
do
is
well.
in best state, bro. I
I
मेरे
mean,
को
the
game
only
is
the
best
only
state.
real operator I'd say needs a bit of a change is Finca. I think I think most of us can agree.
LMGs.
I
LMGs in
mean,
LMGs.
general, don't get me wrong, but Finca with Gon 6 grenades and that LMG and durability.
so much
It's too
utility,
Amazing.
powerful.
man.
I like the
Plus
It's like
Overwatch
Jace.
it's
approach
like
of making everybody overpowered. So rebuff the Ash again,
yeah.
give Zofia
Ouch.
her rifle back. Like Zofia's rifle
Uh,
was so good, nobody bothered to use the LMG. They brought this
yeah,
nightmare
the
upon themselves only with this shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
sorry.
it's also similar with his Ella shotgun, right? The FO12. It
yeah.
Yeah.
went
Oh my God,
underrated for
Jesus, man.
so long until suddenly, I think it was Aces in an official broadcast in one of the majors.
Oregon.
Jumped
He
on easy,
jumped out
bro.
of Oregon and just demolished with that FO12. Then
Yeah.
people start playing it, and Ella's gun was just getting the Scorpion was just getting nerfed and nerfed and nerfed at the time. So
S-
people were
मेरे
seeing the shotgun for what it
I
was,
just
and
feel LS Shorty is
here we
just
are.
way too overpowered still now. Like
They did
console
nerf
pe
it right now.
I
They
mean,
gave it a
Yeah, they
damage
did
nerf.
not
Abhi,
very
they
nerf
nerfed it
it.
I
Yeah.
significantly.
still is still very powerful, dude. It's still
Problem
very very
problem was
powerful.
the extended barrel multiplier on that gun actually. So
अरे
Oh
they
कुछ
kind
boy,
of
yeah.
fixed it now.
कुछ भी I just feel if I'm standing a la shorty, I'm holding a gate. There's no way you can just pass that. There's no way in the world you can pass that, and that just makes things very imbalanced. I
I
just
mean,
feel
That
that way.
I mean,
eh,
there are some certain counters to it. I'm not gonna say that just
Which
by
one?
Ella being in that specific spot. Bro,
Okay.
you have grenades, you have drones.
I
You
mean, hey,
could,
at the end of the
Okay,
day,
you could,
Rainbow Six
you,
is a
you
because
point.
have
grr-
to you
okay.
have to spend utilities in
Yeah.
order to
Yeah.
counter
Yeah.
something.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
So
that's why it's
in
siege. Yeah.
that regard, that is fine in most of the cases, but there are some cases you can't do anything to
Sometimes,
her.
yeah, you just
Like
can't
Yeah.
actually get
Bank
it.
Yeah.
blue
Yeah.
stairs, people stack 3 ADSs, Ella mines, barbed wire, a shield,
Yes.
and sit
Yeah.
with an Ella shotgun
My
there.
goodness.
Even if the server hatch opens, people hold it from security, and that guy still plays on the blue stairs.
And you know the
It's
best
like
part?
you're playing your own multiplayer
I have
survival game
Yeah.
there.
seen a team play an Ella shotgun behind a clash on those stairs, bro.
Oh
क्या
my
Oh my
कर
god.
लो
God.
क्या करोगे उसके बाद? So
it's
Jack, the problem
yeah,
there actually is that, see, the brain dead fragger wants to frag. Okay, he needs something to
yeah.
frag with. Problem is Ubisoft has gone down the opposite approach. They thought, hey, nobody's playing Finca, let's make Finca playable. But then they
हाँ
made everything else
ये
playable.
ये है ये
Kuntal
है
must be
वो
Kuntal
हाँ ये
must be
चीज
in the
है
chat right now. बेचारा इतना
कुंतल होगा
heavy Ash player था. See, my own ex teammate Eagle Eye, he used to play Ash, nerf कर दिया. Zofia rifle they used started enjoying with angle grip, nerf कर दिया. Then people gravitated to Iana G36 2.0 scope,
Scope
Sledge
हटा
and
दिया.
Finca.
Mm.
तीनों को उड़ा दिया भाई. No, where will the fragger go? See, right now Finca and Iana are successful only because they have Nade and Gone 6 both. So that
Yeah,
just
yeah.
allows the fragger to focus on fragging.
हाँ, correct.
I'll
No, like
just like to
when
Fragger
I
has to
pause.
focus on
I'll just
fragging,
like to
right?
pause this and everyone like chat में काफी चल रहा है ये कोई नहीं है यहाँ पे. I just want to clear it out. I
uh,
approached to many people. I approached to many people.
Yeah.
अगर मैंने किसी को अप्रोच नहीं किया है, I truly apologize and क्योंकि थोड़ा सा timing and all that. But ऐसा नहीं कि मैं just doing it for one day. We'll try to keep it weekly. Like I will try my best to keep it weekly. क्योंकि live का ही format मैं follow करूँगा. मेरे को editing नहीं आती और DC crew time पे मेरे को edit करके नहीं देता है. और,
okay.
और और मेरे पास उतने पैसे नहीं होते वैसा उसको देने के. वेरी टू द फैक्ट एंड या सो विल ट्राई टू कीप इट वीकली अगर पॉसिबल रहेगा तो. यस आई विल डेफिनेटली लव टू हैव एवरीवन जो भी ऐसे के एपैक के सर्वर पे. आई डोंट हैव एनी प्रॉब्लम टू हैव एंड हैव योर व्यूज बिकॉज like see if we take a professional player like Kira from Kira Esports, it's very important to take views from a casual player too, because this is how the ecosystem grows. Just clearing out it for everyone in the chat ki why this guy is not here, why this guy is not here. I'll try to have everyone as soon as we grow.
No, I think like we'll definitely keep this on a weekly basis. So that would raise awareness on a more
हाँ
consistent level.
हाँ मैं नहीं ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि अगर मैं नहीं हूँ तो नहीं हो रहा है. इट कैन बी अगर कि इफ आई एम जस्ट बिजी डूइंग समथिंग एल्स देन इट कैन डेफिनेटली हैपन विथ अदर पीप्स टू बिकॉज Siege can grow that in that way only. I just feel कि एक eccentric होके ये चीज नहीं grow करेगी. That's why I talk about that PC and console thing too. Because I just personally believe in India and the whole APEC. When we talk about Pakistan, we talk about Nepal, we talk about Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. There are a lot of console players, there are a lot of PC players. तो थोड़ा सा हुआ ना भाई अगर टूर्नामेंट्स वही चीज अगर console पे भी like PC पे हो सकता है तो console पे भी होगा तो it will just help the community to grow. हाँ one more point that we were talking. Sorry, मैंने interrupt किया था उस time पे. I guess Black Jack, you were saying something. If you remember, please go on with that.
Well, what was I actually saying?
मैं भी
Um,
भूल गया इसलिए. I'm a
and
very bad host.
yeah, don't worry about it. It's nothing. But yeah, like Ashrit and Bullet said, we would love to have more folks
More
from the
people,
SA
yeah.
scene in this podcast. Just talking about their experiences, about what they have seen and would like to see. And like Ashrit said, it would help a consistent podcast like this would help raise awareness of not just issues in the scene, but also some of the great things, people that are in the scene.
I'll back you 1 second. Yeah.
Maybe a
Please
group
go on.
of
Please go on.
friends who are trying to organize something. Maybe they need a voice that would allow people to really get eyes on them. Maybe there's a new team that you found, anyone really has found, any smaller tournament or whatever that should have more eyes on them. Anything that will help the scene grow. I think this podcast can be a real voice for that. And to have some more folks here. I mean, you could get Neil, you could get Music J, you could get the pro players, Hasib, Sparko, and what have you. Everyone could be part of this podcast, and I don't mean to make it a meme. What was that Smash meme? Everyone is here, but having that happen would actually be really good for the South Asian scene. So
yeah,
you know,
we could make it like episode wise. I mean, who knows? Maybe we can, right?
and
Like
this is
weekly
Like the
episode.
wise,
6 on 6
we can
podcast.
introduce one
Yeah,
one
yeah. I was
place.
gonna
Yeah,
say like the six on
yeah,
six
six on
podcast.
six podcast. Yeah, like we can do it similar to that. But yeah, man, there
Sometimes
are
it
some
has
great
only
customers.
two
I'm not
people.
gonna lie.
Sometimes it has 7 coaches from different regions doing podcast at once.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's always
That coaches
enjoyable,
podcast was the best one I've ever heard, to be honest.
right? Yeah. It's always enjoyable. That's what I love about six on six.
yeah. It's like
Why are you
the thing
talking
about
about
six.
sex? Just
Ah,
kidding. Go on.
ah,
इसका
No,
YouTube का वीडियो
no,
बनवा दो भाई 18
go
प्लस
on.
करवा
I
दो.
Go on.
uh,
Age
I don't have it
restricted.
demonetized.
Okay, 6 on 6.
Demonetized.
My bad. Okay,
Ah,
now man.
Yeah. There were like a lot of good topics from 6 on 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? We might be able to get good information from our podcast too if we get the time. But
Sure.
Acha,
yeah.
one more thing. Do you like how many of you know that this WG Gaming is actually organizing a league like tournament currently? Athar, do you know the details regarding it?
No idea.
What
I
is
haven't been
WG Gaming?
following.
Bro, like some people from Pakistan, they have made this tournament. It's not advertised that well. I don't know why it's not, but apparently it's league like, and it depends on the number of teams that join it. So, like, thing is, their prize pool is bare minimum. Okay, so like one player can have one pizza one night. But the thing is, things like that will keep the teams engaged, right? Again, I'm going back to the same point I was not able to
Yeah.
complete because
Yeah.
a certain
Yeah. Please
host
go on.
keeps
Please go on.
interrupting me. I
Wait,
Who
wait. When you
interrupted?
said when you said pizza, is it
Hmm.
like an entire circle or just one slice?
या वो
one
डोमिनोज का है या ओवन
one
स्टोरी का
pizza,
है?
bro. One pizza, though you can afford with some price
Is it
pool.
hand tossed or something else?
अरे यार भावनाएं समझना मेरी bro. Why are you going into the depths like that?
No, I
So
completely agree. That kind of tournaments are definitely very important for the newer players to for the like जो उतना professionally उस level पे नहीं है. But that is not something for the professional teams. अब देखो अपने region में कोई ऐसी professional team नहीं है. Like मैं professionalism का यहाँ पे मैं viewers को भी इन सबको like मेरा क्या एक perspective रहा है. Professional का मतलब you have managers. Professional कहने का मतलब you have a player based salary, a good bare minimum salary that you can afford yourself. Like a proper example. I think when you say a professional player, this is what example and professional team means in. You have a salary, you have an org behind you, you have good people behind you, and then you have a very good ecosystem. Like मैं वापस उसी topic पर you have a very good ecosystem in the region to sustain that. Because the more community events, the more traction the region will get. The more traction the region will get, the more Ubisoft will take interest. That's it. And that will eventually help UB to just get in more siege players from the region, and that's what they want. जितना ज़्यादा players बढ़ेंगे उतना ज़्यादा उनका market बढ़ेगा.
yeah, recognition will certainly be good. See, I won't point out which org, but one of them had the issue of not supporting the team's name in their streams. So, like, you would never know that hey, Kira has a game today or Mercenaries has a game today. So, if you are able to boost, like, I think Kira is still a newer org. They are still trying stuff out. Like, forgive
Yeah.
me if I'm wrong, Athar.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if
Correct.
you enable a team like that to be featured on the main page, then Kira is able to confidently show that hey, this is what we are. This is where we get covered.
True.
Instead of
True.
like nobody knowing what is Kira, then it becomes difficult to get a sponsor for you as an org. So like
Correct.
the soon R6 thing. So like if you know like they could just like this is a positive suggestion from for me. If they could just like make sure that when the big orgs play, when the T1 teams play, everybody knows that hey, today a match is happening. This is an event. Like IPL event. Hey bro, Mumbai Indians is playing today. Oh my god,
uh,
who are you betting on?
Uh,
Hype like that is what gets everybody going in the end, right?
I mean, I tell you
Correct.
what, it's not even, you know how you get messages for the IPL, right? Every now and again, like those random messages informing you, hey, today this match. You know how I get to know? Not those messages. Those actually don't come from me anymore. Swiggy.
okay. Yeah.
They will
For
text
me,
me.
Zomato. For
Yo,
me, Zomato.
Eat Club gives 100 rupees off if you bet the
Yeah,
correct winner of a team.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I just get to
that's
heard it from a random shop. I just go outside, eat some random, eat gobi manchuri right from outside, and suddenly I heard, wait, did you hear about the Mumbai Indians match is gonna happen tomorrow? And I was like, oh, now I know.
bro. Even I even
Right.
stopped following cricket. मेरे को college वाले people say why who are you don't follow cricket in India. मैंने बोला bro have you heard of a game Rainbow Six Siege? दिन भर Valorant और BGMI में घुसा रहता है. What is Rainbow Six Siege? I'm like hello.
I mean, no offense to IPL. The IPL has the
No offense to any other game,
No,
but
no, no, no.
Yeah, no.
I'm converting this point to the viewership part. So I have only like a very strong opinions on that. Siege is not a very viewer friendly game because I have
I
been
think Attacker Repeat has helped though.
कंप्लीट करने दे बाबा रुक जा 2 मिनट बता रहा हूँ जब सी
We'll get back to it. We'll circle back to
Revenge
that.
taken. Revenge taken.
Siege is not a very viewer friendly game because I have been in the work in the past as a content creator to very big brands who have that their own viewership, they have pulled me to their, okay, you want to stream Siege, we'll give you viewers, but it's your job to convert them to your loyal ones. And I was just not able to do that. And it was not a problem for me because when I was streaming GTA 5 on that platform, I was able to pull off 2,000, 3,000 viewerships with ease. With ease. So this is comes to the fact that Siege is not a very viewer friendly game. So make it to a very viewer friendly game compared to internationally, because when see people will just in the chat, or maybe some random guy who just plays it for fun, or maybe just who's not into very much professionally, will just say कि ऐसा invitation पे इतना आ सकता है तो इतना क्यों आ सकता है? Bro, that is SI. That is the world's biggest siege tournament where drops are there, where everything is there, where the big teams are there. तुम्हारी फेवरेट अदर और के भी वहाँ पे जैसे G2 TSM वहाँ पे उनके प्लेयर्स भी खेलते हैं. बट आई जस्ट फील कि टू इंक्रीज लाइक अगर मैं एपैक रीजन की बात कर लूँ, अपने इंडियन सब कॉन्टिनेंट की ही बात कर लूँ, तो वी जस्ट नीड मोर content creators like to the specific to who are really dedicated and passionate about the game rather than just streaming. I'm not talking about the streaming is not content creation. Streaming is just not content creation. Streaming just like कि हाँ आप खेल रहे हो and you're just enjoying talking to the viewers. This is what I believe. Content creation means like कि proper ऐसा सीच का छोटा छोटा like short videos जो मार्केट में चलते हैं, जो यूट्यूब पे चलते हैं. I gave that example in the college when we did the college thing.
Yeah.
Just for example, Blackjack has a friend who wants to get into the siege, but Blackjack doesn't have the time. So maybe will that guy in a very 2022 state will ask you like कुछ ऐसा कोई बंदा है जिसको मैं YouTube पे देख सकता हूँ from our country only, maybe some from our region only, in my language only. Just take it for Hindi for example. English में तो है ही. Then he can suggest that content creator. There is no one in India. There is not a single guy in India that you can suggest right now.
I would
There's no
say
one.
there used to be one or two guys, but they have gone. Like they don't play the
Yeah,
game anymore, or they don't live here anymore.
exactly. Because उसके दो ही reasons होंगे bro. Because if he was getting good views, अगर वो यहाँ रहे चाहे वो बाहर रहे, that would have like वो बंदा अभी भी बना रहा होता. Because this is what as a content creator आपको लगता है ना, ठीक है इतने likes आ रहा है तो एक ठीक है यार, पब जनता अच्छे से respond कर रही है. Because I have seen many creators in my region too जो अच्छे montages भी बनाते हैं. I'll give DC Cruz example for a while. He makes very good montages. यहाँ पे मैंने उन कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स को भी देखा जो सीज से शिफ्ट कर गए. टेक सौरा फॉर एग्जांपल, वो रैंडमली अपलोड करता है SAURA. ही रैंडमली अपलोड समटाइम्स प्लेइंग फन विद सीज एंड ऑल. उस पे भी उसके 65K अराउंड व्यूज होते हैं, बट व्हेन ही गोज टू वैलोरेंट दैट व्यू काउंट गोज टू मोर देन 150K एंड ऑल. मतलब काफी बड़ा, 1 लाख के पास. And this is where not even Valorant was in, क्या बोलूं, मतलब एकदम like उसका APAC वाला टर्नी अनाउंस हो गया था and many big orgs were there with their lineup. This is very on the fresh start कि Siege is just like very non viewer friendly game. To make it very viewer friendly, we just need more better content creators from our region कि वो explain कर पाए. Like take it for example, some any other org is doing a Siege tournament. Now to promote it, who will they approach? Who in the world will they approach? Just like that.
But sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
Anyone, please.
Okay,
Awkward.
so basically, like that depends on the individual also. No, the thing is that Siege is the most complex FPS game out there, and
Yeah.
it is much easier to create content for something like Valorant or something like PUBG Mobile, BGMI, or whatever it is now, as compared to making it for Siege, right? And then the thing is like Siege still is a niche game, and the problem is not just with the content creator. The game itself, like unless you play it, you won't know some things about it. That's how it is.
That is true.
So
That is
It's
true.
been
That
a
is true.
it's been a very long game though, because
Yeah, because I was
how
about to
many
say
years
that.
has it
Yes,
been? It's been
7
like
years.
8 years.
Seven.
Seven,
Seven.
yes, 7 years
Yes, yeah.
since Siege has been introduced. And if you do want to make a differentiation between Rainbow Six Siege and Valorant you have mini maps. Rainbow Six Siege doesn't.
enough said.
And it's not just the only thing. Talk about agents wise. You just pick the agent one time on Valor, and you're going to play the agent for around 15 to 30
Next
rounds.
12 rounds. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
but in
Yes.
Siege, it's not like that. You get to pick your operators every single round, and you need to figure out a way to get
Why
into
you wanna play
three
it?
different sites. I mean, three or four different sites. The reason I'm saying three is because the last
Round
site we don't.
rotation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
either it's round rotation or there is this one last site where you don't get to pick a lot. But and the way how Siege works is that you, in order to understand the way how the map layout is, just by looking at it or just by playing the game itself, it would take around 3 or 4 days just to understand the map. Now you still have like other maps like Oregon, Clubhouse, which are like a bit easier for the players to understand. But you still, but you have maps like Chalet, you have maps like
Villa,
Villa, Hereford base, which starting pay it was very easy, but then when the reworks
the remake.
happened, everyone started to hit Hereford base because it was so big. It was there was a lot of rooms to talk about, but the point that I'm trying to say is here, Valorant, when it comes to agent picking, the amount of time it takes to get to A or B site, it's easier for the players to understand what side it is, at what position you have to be in. But in Siege, you get to make your own angles. You get to make your own positionings. You can just open up a wall and say, yes, at first I was here, but where I'm now, I'm on the left side. Maybe I'm on the right side. And the best part about Siege is that you can make your angles anywhere you want. Vertical lines of sight. You can just use bucks as shotguns and just open up the vertical lines of sight and take out players from below or from above. It's up to your choice. And that is why I love Siege a lot, because it gives you a lot of freedom. It gives you a freedom to hold whatever angles you want. It gives you a freedom of whatever strategies that you'd like to use, and you still get to use utilities a lot. And talking about the utility meta, which did appear when they introduced Wamai, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
when they started to introduce Wamai, Jaeger's three ADSs with the Wamai's magnet, my goodness, it was such a
Oh
huge
man.
nightmare. It,
Yeah.
it was such a huge nightmare. At that time, vertical lines of sight didn't mean a thing. Opening up reinforcement walls didn't even mean a thing, especially on a map like Villa.
I mean,
Second
yeah,
floor sanctuary room.
Flash
you
and
could,
nade throwing simulator.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you could do all of the breaching stuff that's been there since year one, right? But if you were playing in year five, around about the season three, season four time, you would have to breach a wall and then start throwing the kitchen sink plus then some at the defenders to get into the site. And I'm speaking from my perspective. I know that
Yeah.
for the pro players, it was probably even worse because utility was optimized and min maxed, and setups were really people were finding setups left and right. And after that, it started really stagnating into a few really good setups that everyone could do. And yeah, yeah, you know what?
Good.
I don't know how many of you guys know Russian Badger.
I
Mm-hmm.
Back
know.
when he used to
Yeah.
play Siege, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in the Year Five Season Two test server, when you can get someone like Badger to admit that when you have me do all of this just to try and hit an enemy, there's something going on. When you get Badger to admit that something was amiss in those few months, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, it's
I think
just
now
it's
now
yeah.
it's
Please go
really
on. Please go
fun
on.
though. Like
Now
now
it
it
is,
is much better. You can straight
yeah,
up
yeah,
Way
bypass
good.
all of that utility.
yeah.
Like
Now you can
previously,
just create
Taking
walls.
them
previously
out to
the
get into sight. Oh yeah.
the problem wasn't just all the shields and the utility problem. The problem was that once you started clearing them, all of a sudden lay random jittery would come and peek and kill four of you. So
Exactly.
can you go and solve that problem? You can't.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
by the way, this is me cosplaying as Jittery.
Okay.
That's
So
that's that's how great Jittery is when it comes to peeking. He just peeks at one time, he just smiles and
I
just gets a kill.
actually have an experience with that.
Oh,
Cafe,
really?
right? I'll
Okay,
just
okay,
tell
okay.
this, okay? I think even most of the players know this. So we're playing this cafe game against, Union Gaming that time. So there's a shield on Pixel. There are so many windows on cafe, you know that. Okay, I get out of spawn, I'm playing Nomad. I put two air jabs, I put a flank air jab. I throw three flashes, get rid of three, I mean, 1.5 ADS. Another guy comes, he flashes three. He gets another 1.5 ADS. Then there are my traps. Okay, now at that point, there's this Ash, okay, who's not getting an angle onto the shield, right? So he enters cigar shop, right? Obvious. And he dies to Jittery.
Yeah.
Another Zofia enters, he dies to Jittery.
Ah.
And it's a new remade map, right? So no one knows the call out.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
everyone's like, Jittery, G3, G3. No one is giving the call out. So that how what happened is that position where he was playing, basically new hatch, below new hatch, right?
Right, right,
Shaiko,
right,
we
right,
call
right.
it
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah,
So that spot is called Jittery in Kira Sports right now.
Oh, bhai.
You don't understand Shaiko. Shaiko is somewhere else, hot and cold. That spot is called Jittery now. Like, oh, this
Oh
guy just
man.
killed everyone over there. That spot is called Jittery now.
I mean, I remember I was just playing a simple unranked match, and then I saw in the opposition team Jittery.
Oh no.
Just by looking at the name, I was like, I'm in danger. Like seriously, I just saw Jittery in the name, and I was like, well, like I guess that's all. I think I'm done. I just don't know what to do next. Like every single round I see, I'm just trying to open up the wall. Suddenly I see a peeking Jittery out of nowhere, picking out players one by one, and I was like, okay, I'm the last guy. It's a 1v5. Guess I'll die then. What can I do, man? I mean, when it comes to talking Jittery, Rattler, my goodness, what a player, man. What a player
Athar.
that we have in
Atar, absolutely.
yeah,
Oh man,
Athar as well.
Legend is
I
sitting
mean,
right
how
here,
can
bro.
not forget
Yeah.
about Athar, man? Come on. Like that's it's just there are so many great players on Siege, man. It's it's just sad that we don't get to see them get recognized a lot in this scene.
Mm.
I just
I
hope
mean,
that
even the
maybe
tournament dry up that's happened recently, right?
yeah.
It's just been like, I personally, I like, me and Baba were talking about this about 2 weeks ago, while I was out on that trip that I was on, and we just miss casting Siege really overall.
Yeah.
Valorant casting is going great. Don't get us wrong. We're enjoying the game as it were, but and even Bullet, raising his
Bullet
hand over there,
flexing.
slyly in the corner. But we just miss casting Siege,
I'll
man.
just want to make one point over here. Like, see, I'm that kind of guy right now. Like, who, like, if I'm putting in the words in my casting, I expect my price. Like, I'm
Mhm.
putting from a caster perspective, from a professional perspective, right over here. And the rates which OTOs now offer to cast Siege is like कि 150 रुपया देगा. And trying to get that meme over here. If I can just put in, if I had the stream deck, and I just feel in that way the game is so dead right now कि overall I'm just trying to put this right जो हम कल discuss कर रहे थे off camera.
To be honest, sorry I'm interrupting you there, but as
Yeah, yeah.
long as Parko and Hasib want to unretire from this game is not dead in the region, bro.
Amen to that, brother.
Uh,
Amen to that.
amen to that.
This region will not die as long as these two people want to play the game, bro. Simple as that.
It's, like
I mean,
of
let's not forget you
course.
still have Athar and Jittery too in the scene.
oh
So
damn.
But
Bro,
Oh,
but the
but
casual player base actually matters more than the
no, no, no,
professional
no, no.
player base, right?
Both
I
matters
mean,
a lot.
both
Both
matters a
matters a
lot.
lot.
I'm not
Both
saying that
matters
it's
a lot.
not, but
Both
when it
matters a
comes
lot.
to pro players, now they're the ones who gives motivation to the casual players, na?
Exactly.
Who knows? Maybe we might
Exactly.
see some casual players in South APAC region who wants to give a shot at the scene, and then suddenly he becomes a star too. It's like
Exactly.
it becomes a loop. So if any pro player makes some ridiculous plays, makes a huge impact on the scene, and then suddenly you will see other youngsters who is currently playing Siege can also look at pro players like you as well,
They will
and
get
starts to
they'll
make their
yeah.
own plays as well.
Exactly. They will get encouraged. Like, ठीक है, how we get into esports, how we make a team, how to get into the competitive plays, like जो बंदा नहीं भी है interested in esports, professionalism एक game का, they'll try to get in. ठीक है, हम scrims ही करेंगे तो maybe we can just find 5 guys who play at our time frame, and just not to play rank, we'll just find a server. There are many guys from my region who scrims at that time. I'll just scrim it and try to probably play some rank. So this is what.
I sorry.
Nahin, go on.
Acha, I still remember Salim.csvd, then it became the council and stuff. The way he used to play Buck inspired me so much to learn Buck back then. Like back then, I was still here playing on 60 hertz, still a learning player, and just the way he played Buck, man, back then, him and Buck on Oregon, God, gave me motivation to play for sure. Then same thing can be said like how November 2018 there was this tournament held by UGH. Baba would surely know about it.
yeah, I know. Too,
So
yeah.
Athar would also know about it. So Foxy and like Warhammer and others, they all organized this tournament. One night before the qualifiers for that game, I was just playing ranked and I was just wishing, God, I wish I had a team to play this game with. And that night, Atharv, I meet Halki,
I get
Rex,
I,
Uh-huh.
I get the feeling
Wingman,
every day.
and other people. And
Tank top gaming.
Tank Top Gaming तो बात की बात है.
अच्छा
But
बात की बात है.
हाँ, I played in BT for like 4 5 months back then.
Mhm.
So that is how I got to play the UGH. I found them one night before the tournament. One night.
Nice hammer,
So
bro.
yeah, like good pro players, positive pro players do motivate the casual player to go above and beyond what he is currently.
That is
That
the
is
whole
definitely
esports
true.
ecosystem,
The
right?
game is a
Yeah,
competitive shooter in the end. The competitive word is right there.
yeah.
So even if you are a casual, you do want to smack the noob on the other side of the team, right?
Yeah.
People get motivated to play professionally, like looking at SIL. No, that was not the case with me. I saw this tournament called ICGC, like exactly, right?
Mm.
So I saw this MRCZ people, like Sparko and all basically, and the CSBD people, and our global esports as well,
Ah,
Vector
that time
Sports,
global
right?
was it? Yeah.
So
Man,
yeah,
I
I
know
don't remember
Vector
the fourth
Sports,
team, but
man. I
all these
remember.
guys go to Goa, play that LAN tournament, the hype, the videos, it all got me like hyped up to play the game, and that was my debut match actually in comp. Not even kidding. That tournament. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Now
yeah,
I remember. Like back when I saw the video, that was when I realized, oh, this game has a pro scene here also.
yeah. I think
Mm.
Yeah,
Sparko's video I saw, I think, for ICGC.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. After that, I'm like, oh damn, this is good. I want to play this game now. Like I
I
want to
mean,
grind in this game.
yeah, I remember teams like Mammoth Gaming, Club G1. I mean, both of them are the same. I mean,
Same.
Club
they're
G1.
different.
Mm.
Quantum
Club
G1.
G1. The
That was
names
Quantum,
fun.
were so
yes.
good, man. You had Never Diamonds. You had Team Akatsuki, L2K. Like there were
Bad
so
trip.
many. Yeah,
Bad
Bad
Trip
Trip
Esports, yeah.
Esports, Extraordinaire. Like so many great teams that we did get to
Hawks
see here.
Gaming was also there back then.
Hawks was very
So
good.
many great,
Countless
Yeah.
man.
Esports was there.
It's just that the only thing that makes me even more sad is Vector Sports because my God, the
What a
amount of
potential, bro.
Oh
what
yeah.
what
Way
players
too
that
good.
they had Skipper, they had
Way too good.
Cyan. They were way too good. They've been playing this game since the beta version, and the amount of dedication that they gave to Siege was unimaginable on my end. And I always see them and be like, damn, the amount of plays that they make. I kind of felt like, wow, I wish I could have done that the same thing, but
I just want to
I ended
point
up
out
being
one thing. I somehow got the Vector Esports number because I had
Hmm.
contacts back then. I called three of them guys. I said, congratulations, bhai. You won the first the land event, which
Oh, that
ESL
that was
and
a dream
ESL
run, bro.
Hyderabad?
Uh,
Yeah, that was a
yeah,
dream run for sure.
एग्जैक्टली एंड आई जस्ट सेड माई हार्ट आउट मैं ऑलमोस्ट मैंने रितेश से उस टाइम रितेश आनी से उस टाइम मैंने 2 मिनट या 3 मिनट बात किया होगा जिंदगी में उससे ज़्यादा लाइक उसके बाद बात हुआ है नाउ इज इन रूटर राइट नाउ कि like I really admired you guys. I really admire like your professional dedication towards the side because maybe or I remember I haven't crossed like 1K subs back then. And I don't know 2019 है या 2018 है not able to recall it correctly. Shifting Tides कब आया था 2019 के end में आया था 20
2019, yeah,
yeah,
2019.
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so
20.
that was that. I hadn't crossed 1K subs back then, so I was like, कि bro, I really admire. But अपन console पर तो कुछ हो नहीं सकता है. Just like thank you so much. We are just boarding our flights and all, and हम बोला ठीक है बाद में बात करते हैं. So this and उस time भी I remember when I was like जैसे हमारे पास यहाँ Discord है PC पे, there's a PlayStation पे parties होता है. PS4 पे and we were like almost 8 and 9 guys. उस टाइम मेरा भी टूर्नामेंट का कुछ चल रहा था वी वर ऑल डिस्कसिंग ऑन हाउ अबाउट लाइक पीसी हो रहा है तो मे बी जस्ट वन डे for just one day someone will announce a very big tourney for console in India and siege and maybe we can just blow up and at that time everyone was grinding too on console side of things like yeah people were very very passionate in PC too because PC पे already tournaments हो रहे थे PC पे सब कुछ हुआ था तो PC का ऐसा लग रहा था scene set है but later when I came into the like थोड़ा सा और deep into the scene and then I realized no man it's kind of pretty dead when it comes to the money factor so yeah
I
It
mean,
really
but
just
sorry,
it just
why do I do this all the time? God.
don't worry about it. It's only episode one, Ashwin. We'll get better eventually.
exactly
But
practice makes perfect.
it does. But what I was actually saying, right, was it like everything we've talked about so far, the tournaments and being inspired by seeing pro play in the region, not even talking about the big majors or anything like that, in
yeah
the
yeah
region. it all comes back to what we were talking about a little while ago, which was getting these games broadcasted with the proper bit of marketing, right? Ashrit
I
has
agree with that.
taken a few shades. Again, no names are being named, but we know who. At the fact that the team names need to be there involved, but more than that, a little bit more marketing from both sides should be put in. It's something I've always felt, and I believe this was also part of the wider international discourse, mid to late last year, where people were talking about T2, T3 scenes in NA and EU, and how they didn't used to get so much coverage, right? Like they've
Yeah,
gotten more and more recently, but they didn't
yeah,
used to,
yeah.
and the
Yeah.
players would wonder why. And T1 players and a lot of the folks in the scene would tell them that you guys need to put yourselves out there as much as the orgs are trying to put you out there. Like over there the orgs tried, but again, if a player is not interacting with the scene that they are actively taking part in, then there will obviously be a
This,
disconnect, right?
yeah,
which yeah
this.
which I definitely feel like has always been the case. But add to that, orgs, all kinds of orgs, not really marketing themselves the way they should be. I've seen that change over the years, of course, and recently it was getting better before the scene took an unfortunate turn. But if and when things get better, I would definitely love to see more of that, more games being streamed, but not to the point where it's like 7 out of 6 days a week. No thank you, not everyone's going to be watching then. But a consistent rate of streaming and marketing around the stream, that hey, we're playing, and hey, this team that you might like or might want to follow is playing on this day, schedules being released, so on and so forth. Stuff like that, which we are already seeing, me and Baba casting Valorant, again shifting over to Valorant, but it's really our closest point of reference right now. Valorant, we see that so often, right? And interaction and traction, regardless, it happens. And people know that when their teams are playing and they come to watch their teams, there's always some level of fanfare, at least. And you get to the top teams of the region, I mean, my god, the kind of fanfare we've seen, right, from that, it's insane. And to see that in Siege would also be amazing, but again, it requires effort from all parties involved, which has historically, at least to mine eyes, been a problem. Now, of course, Ashrit, the third, you guys can shed some more light on the org player side of things if you want to, of course. But speaking as someone who used to be an outsider and only really got in 2020 onwards, that's sort of how it seemed to me.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like biggest example globally surely is Bolo, right? Bolo till he turned 18, he was not a pro player, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
when TSM did acquire him, there was hype all around because he just gave them so much value. It was a like addition worthy of value to TSM as an organization. And
Massive.
Bolo had marketed himself accordingly. Then, like that is another subject that even when he did join them, he played really well. He was a smart player. He was not just a QEC star
Yeah, yeah,
fagger
yeah.
or something like that. But yeah, like marketing does matter. So like I would encourage it to all the viewers out there to go out there, experiment a logo for yourself, create a channel, try to stream, try to YouTube, try to give posts out there, try like
Yeah.
get your opinion out there.
I
Like
this
I think one
I
example is sorry Bullet, I'll just take another
go
like
on, go on, go on.
uh so I don't know if you guys like
Andar se
remember
bolo, andar
when
se bolo.
Halo Infinite launched, the Halo developers they actually posted a post that how you can support the scene or be a part of it.
बोल
So
बोल
that
बोल.
showed what they wrote was that
लाइटिंग अच्छी
even
है
if
ना?
you are not playing the scene
अच्छा लग रहा है.
competitively, right? Uh, even if you're not playing it competitively, the
अगर मैं
minimum thing
यहाँ पे
that
एक
you can
लगा
do
दूँ तो
is be
पूरा
supportive to the orgs that
लाइटिंग
you
डर है.
like watching
रुकना मेरे
or
पास
make posts about the
बिजली मेरे
games that
पास
are
नहीं
going to
है.
be happening, make posts about the game when you play the
एसी
game,
आया तेरा
stream it
बंदा
or
आया
like upload
लगा
memes,
दिया
photos, stuff like that. You
आता
can do
तो नहीं
anything.
Yeah,
I
that
just want
definitely,
I
and
just
stuff like that, just work, just not just okay. It's taking a second for me to
I'll
get my
just be
thoughts in
back in a
order.
minute. Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
हाँ
But to bounce off of what Usher just said, to market around, sure, you might not be playing the game competitively, right? But to just talk about matches, to talk about the teams you're supporting, the orgs that you're looking forward to seeing, or the casters you're rooting for, or you personally like slash this, like opinions matter. The getting the word out there matters, right? The more
true
discourse there is, the more how should I say this, the more discourse there is, the more eyes are drawn, right? And the more eyes that are drawn, the more people come to see. the more who come to see, they start to then play. Maybe some of them, of course, it's not going to be a one-to-one transition, but the more people who see it, the more people get interested, the more people start playing. It becomes a loop, and then they learn that, okay, these
Uh,
guys are talking about the scene. That's how I got into it.
I just
You know,
started
and
pause.
yeah.
Rattler in the chat is saying my mic was not muted.
Oh
You are
dear.
being disrespectful. When did I went disrespectful to anyone?
I don't. I think you
Did
were
I?
muted on Discord, but I don't think you were muted on the stream. I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, but I didn't say anything disrespectful. There's a short delay, Rattler. Can you just tell me? Because मैंने अपने दोस्त को बोला कि वो लाइट जा रहा था बट मेरे पास उतने बिजली के पैसे नहीं है तो मैं इसलिए यहाँ पे एक लाइट नहीं लगाया हूँ. It's
Ah,
I
been
mean, or is it
okay.
because of the pun I just said? Andar se bolo.
No, I don't
अंदर
think
से.
that's. I don't think
No,
that's.
because he kept saying a lot about bolo, right? So I said andar se
Yeah,
bolo.
no, but that was like a while ago. I don't think. I don't think that was on the VOD
Yeah,
when.
No, no,
it's
no. Because
like
no,
it was
Rattler said
it was
at the rate
so
bullet the crazy.
unfunny. No one actually did get the joke in the end.
कोई नहीं.
I don't know about. I don't know about everyone else, but Baba, you were actually kind of garbled on my end, so I didn't actually understand what you said. I just went with it. So
Okay, guys. Maybe Rattler, is there something that you want to clarify? You can just DM me on Twitter because this is changing the flow. I didn't
mm,
respect, like मेरा वो अपना दोस्त है मैं उसको कुछ भी बोल देता हूँ, like चलता है.
Mhm.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah,
it
थोड़ा सा
it is how it
chat.
is between.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Please
little
go on.
banter
Please go on.
between
Please go
friends.
on. Please go on.
Mm. But yeah, like what we were saying, right? That we're just out here.
Hmm.
We're playing, we're casting, commentating, but unless there's a discourse surrounding the scene, eyes won't be drawn to it. The more we talk about it, the more we, put things out there, the more we create content, the more we make memes, even whatever. As long as there's people talking about the scene, sharing things, sharing clips and VODs, and talking about their favorite plays, favorite casters, and whatnot, the more that happens, the more people from outside, you know how the internet algorithm works. Something gets talked about, boom, it's on everybody's feeds, right? So the more that happens, the more people will see, hey, there's this that I might be interested in. They'll tune in. They might not tune in every day, but some will. Some will start to watch, some will start to get interested. They'll start playing. They'll think, maybe I can try my hand at competitive. And they'll take the example of what they come from, the social media aspect of everything. And they'll think, okay, I should probably keep this up because it helped me get into the game. So I might be able to help others get into the game as well through doing the same thing. It becomes a loop, but there has to be a starting point, right? And once there is that, which there hopefully will be, then again, like I've said before, multiple points throughout this podcast so far, right? That I believe there's a chance for our scene, and a pretty big one at that. Now, how far, it, of course, depends on orgs, players, time invested over the years of months, seasons. There's a lot that goes into it. But just from my perspective alone, there's so much that is yet to be said and done, and so many players that should be deserve to be highlighted. In all honesty, that I there's a shot. There's definitely a shot.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. There's been an
Mhm.
emergency. I have to leave. Uh,
Ah,
yeah, thanks so much again, Bullet, for having me here.
No problem. No problem. I appreciate the fact you took out your time and you are here. We'll definitely plan it sometime. We'll add more people to our group. The small group, the secret group, जो भी हम नहीं बताएंगे chat में. We'll add definitely more people, but I just don't want the old toxic and ego part of everyone else to just come in because as an outsider, as an observer, I have noticed that over the internet, like what Blackjack said. There it is. Like if you say positive things about the game, about the teams, about the players, people get attracted to, and this is how the society works. If you are talking trash about any something else, people just go more attracted to that. This is how yeah.
Uh,
So we'll just
I,
add
I,
more
I'll
things.
see you guys. Huh?
Bye bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
okay.
Bye bye. Take care.
Bye,
Take care. Take care.
shit.
Hmm. I
Okay.
mean, talking about toxicity, no, I have to say it's kind of similar to matter, you know?
Hmm?
It can't be created
No,
nor
can
it
be
can be
destroyed.
destroyed.
Ah.
It just moves from place to place. I know I'm
Transitions
using a
from form to
scientific
form.
term. Yeah, I know I'm using a scientific term, but it's actually kind of true in the end when it comes to toxicity wise. It's everywhere. We can't just fix it immediately. It always comes down to how you would behave in a situation. And sometimes when it comes to toxicity, even if you're not being toxic, if you're in an environment where there's a lot of toxic people, it somehow gets affected to you as well. So it's a very sensitive and a very difficult topic to talk about. But yeah, when it comes to toxicity wise, it's very difficult. That's all I can say.
See, in other games, like take Valorant for example, you guys are casting Valorant. You know
Hmm.
the chat, how it went live, how like wild.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, how the chat went
Yeah.
live. See, like that definitely understands. Like from a viewer's perspective, like alls don't have to nothing to care about. It's just like what many people will agree with. Any kind of PR is good PR. It doesn't matter what kind of PR it is. But when it comes to like an org specifically calling out an org bad, or maybe player specifically calling out a player bad, this is what I guess we need to improve upon. Yeah, I just feel in that way. Because वो कहते हैं ना, like in Hindi there goes a saying कि अगर चीज़ें अच्छी से करनी है तो उसको मिलजुल के अच्छे से करना पड़ता है. There goes a saying, like मैं वो proverb अच्छे से नहीं बोल पा रहा हूँ. Because Rainbow Six Siege in our region isn't that baby stage, right? It's just like that. If any TO will come and see this kind of shit, why would they do the tournament? It's just simple
Yeah.
as that. But when they will say, okay, there are probably good things because they are good investors, they're bad investors in every other industry. So I just feel in that way.
No, but like so looking at the chat, Hasib just put in there, toxicity banter is fun. There is a level to it that can be fun. Don't get me wrong, harmless banter between friends and between
I'll give a
teammates.
very
Yeah,
good
that
example on
that
this.
part is.
Please continue.
Yeah.
Please blackjack. Please blackjack.
Okay, okay.
Continue. Continue.
No, like
Yeah.
harmless banter between friends, between teammates, between people you know and have, boundaries that you mutually respect. That's fine. A scene
Yeah.
can share that. That is for sure. But after a point, there needs to be a limit, that a
Exactly.
certain line should not be crossed.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
been crossed before. Again, no names are going to be named, but it's been crossed before. So, and that has definitely not too much, but it has negatively impacted the scene in some ways, at least temporarily. It's gotten better since, but there needs to be that line, that distinction of what is it just a light bit of toxicity, just sprinkled in a little bit of banter, as it were, versus what is an actually serious situation where, it shouldn't have been said. That line of distinction needs to be there. And again, things have improved, things have gotten better, but I'm just saying, going forward it's something that needs to be kept in mind, not just by players, but also by orgs, by members in teams, by
Everyone.
even us
Everyone.
casters.
Exactly.
Casters and organizers, everyone needs to remember.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. You like see two people randomly arguing on a Discord chat. Well, doesn't matter. But if that chat goes public and they are connected to bigger orgs, that will definitely like problem over. By you being disrespectful, the fact that you are like. Yeah. थोड़ा सा I'm a bad host. Okay, Rattler, you were. Okay, मेरे को लगा थोड़ा सा अलग चीज हो गया. नहीं.
I mean,
हम we are doing for the first time, Rattler. तो थोड़ा सा होगा. And this is my first time I'm talking to Baba and Blackjack for this long, by the way. So I really don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
by the bullet, there's also a saying. There's a first time for everything.
Yeah, that is literally what we are right now.
ठीक
Yeah.
है भाई.
Yeah.
ठीक है भाई. हाँ तो talking about the banter part which Hasib said. See Hasib, I truly respect that you guys came in for the support when I was doing the whole kind of Twitter thing and people said like okay my opinion also matter as a console guy. There are two things. Okay, I'd like to point out. When I used to stream, so हमारे console पे भी see Pakistani players भी हैं, Sri Lankan players भी हैं. We have Bangladeshi players too. And me as a guy, I never really differentiate. ठीक है, rank का problem है, we can just make another parties and go on. But उस time भी I used to get the same level of hate from the toxic ones, be it any region. Well, चाहे मैं उस time I was not like kind of like I didn't had the UB contacts now that I somehow now I deserve to be, or maybe some people can call I don't deserve. But वो अभी भी मुझे hate करते हैं at that time because I don't know man. So people will like be the toxic ones and will hate you from the content creators perspective. I'm just saying वो हर जगह रहेगा. But it doesn't really matter if the guy is streaming Siege for at least 8 hours a day and we are just calling him bro पहले diamond तो पहुंच जा फिर आना competitive की बात करने के लिए. So that
no,
doesn't
that-
make
yeah.
any kind of shitty sense. And this is not about talking myself. If another girl comes up today another girl comes up to them. I'm not why I'm taking a girl's name, because maybe she will be very interested in streaming. See, this has happened in the past, and that girl came to me and told me how you handle this stuff. Kind of, I just said, "Ki, just a normal thing. I'm passionate about the game. I love enjoy playing Siege than any other game. I'm making good money casting other games, so I have the time to just afford myself, get a good stuff, get a good controller, get a good console, and just stream it for everyone. It doesn't really matter if I get 20 viewers or 2 viewers. Now the second part comes to the team banter and all that stuff. Recently in BGMI, there was very like BGMI में सबको पता है how much the Indian the whole take it for the
Yeah,
APAC
yeah,
region, how much
yeah.
money is there, how much like see man, the Indian ecosystem only is so much bigger right now in mobile game, and we will talk about RCX Mobile later on. So any team hired or made a buyout for any other professional player, and they in their intro video they threw out the other old jersey in the garbage bin. Yeah, this happened. This happened.
Oh,
I won't take names because right now I'm associated with some orgs. I won't take names, but buyout was fully legal. Everything was fully legal. But that video made so much of a rage in whole of the community that that led to a many things that I cannot discuss publicly.
I think that happened in Siege also. Once a similar video was launched for some by some work by for some player, where there was a lot of toxicity involved
See,
in that
see, see, see,
video.
see, see. That depends. Like, see, man, if take it for example, I am signed to Kira Esports as a content creator. Now I go to some any other dog and throughout just it depends how what kind of relationship right
The
now I
orgs
have
have.
with like नहीं for me as a like Kira Esports है कि हाँ वो इतना ले सकते हैं, उनका फैन बेस इतना ले सकता है कि मैं तुम्हारा जर्सी फेंक दूं कचरे के डब्बे में. So I think if you don't think a very common thing, right? I won't take a very serious matter to to make a fun of towards Baba or towards Blackjack because I'm very new. Like I'm getting him with like hi, saying hi, hello. But when I develop a good relationship with, maybe they can just joke about me or like so anything. Yeah, could be serious. तो वो कर सकते. So it's just very simple as that. If you think that other team won't respect in that way, जो तुम भी उस मजाक को नहीं ले सकते, तो आई जस्ट फील यू शुड नॉट गो ऑन ट्विटर एंड जस्ट रैंडमली टॉक शिट अबाउट एनी टॉप ऑफ द टीम्स. और तुमसे यहाँ पे ब्रॉन्ज लेवल का गेम प्ले नहीं हो पा रहा कॉम्पिटिटिव लेवल में, एंड दे आर ऑलरेडी रिप्रेजेंटिंग. मे बी इट विल बी कीरा, मे बी इट बी मर्सनरीज, मे बी इट बी यूजी, मे बी इट बी CSBD प्लेयर सेम ही. आई एम जस्ट टेकिंग द टीम्स. तो so it shouldn't be there, man, because like I said, the Rainbow Six Siege in our region is in the very baby stage of the growth level. Like बहुत ज़्यादा baby stage में है. अगर कुछ करना है, like see if this podcast goes in, I will call in, like will try to get in the players, but eventually if the controversy does not like be out of this podcast, nobody will care about it. They will like कि हाँ, they are just couple of guys who couldn't make it to the pro scene and they're just bantering about it. It'll be just like that.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely, again, there's a middle ground to everything, right? You go too far one way, things won't really work out. You go too far the other way, well, it's not really going to work out either. But it's like you said, Bullet, this scene it's in a place where it can grow very well,
Yeah.
and it's in a place where it can be bigger. But there's also the worry, and I'm seeing, Sparko and Rattler, Sandy, Hasib, everyone's in the chat right now talking about how many teams would even be there, should the region resume competitive play, like proper competitive play, big leagues, SANs, whatever, right? And I feel like there would be teams, but initially, right, because so many people have moved on and so many team players have moved on and whatnot, I feel like there would definitely be a little bit of a gap between how many teams there used to be and versus there will be. But if whatever happens manages to take off, say this podcast alone takes off, right? And we get more players and more analysts and everybody from the scene, coaches and whatnot, involved. We get them talking, we get them, throwing attention at what needs attention to be thrown to. That alone would help more people think, okay, there's a burgeoning scene here. If I get in early, I could get myself established. I could become a name.
Yeah.
And that allure alone is actually enough for a lot of people to try making a team. Believe it or not, me and my best friend, we used to think about going pro. It's unbelievable to me
Same for
now.
me.
But back in 2018 and 19, we even had like 6 or 7 friends. We were all together, and we had a group We even tried registering for ESL, but it never really went anywhere because we were all like very different people in real life, right? We had very different commitments, very different schedules. We couldn't really get
Understandable.
practice together. It eventually kind of fell apart. But for us, the appeal was that there was a scene here. There were streams, there were teams playing, and that alone, the idea that we could be people, we could be, people in the scene, we could help more people grow, that alone was enough for us to start playing and taking seed seriously. Of course, since then I got into casting, Eisen got into broadcasting, and some of our other friends became admins, and they've moved on to other things in life since. But that start that we had, I feel like a lot of people will have that start if whatever comes, whatever happens, whatever come may, right, has that sort of involvement behind it, that it shows that there's involvement behind it, that there's people working on it, that there's marketing going around, there's fanfare, that there's something going on, the scene is celebrating an event more so than just playing a tournament. And seeing that, like I said before, more people come to watch, more people come to play. And the more that happens, the more the number of teams grow, the more the scene becomes healthier. Now, of course, whether or not teams in a league versus nationals would be more or less, that really depends on time and place and what real life commitments many people are going through. Because in India, in our South Asian region, that is a very big consideration, right? Esports, the industry itself here isn't really at a very solid place yet. Some
Yeah.
games are much farther ahead of the curve, obviously. Free Fire, BGMI, they are very settled. Valorant is getting settled in, but it's still not there yet. And so
Yeah.
real life commitments become a big problem. And for a lot of people, a big hassle. I still remember when we had the TC leagues and even the TC Showdown series, right? There were a lot of teams who simply could not play. They kept requesting schedule changes, not because they didn't want to play, but because a lot of them had, say, college level exams, they had entrance
True.
exams, applications, passport stuff, or just even real life stuff. Maybe they had to go to a family function that they couldn't avoid. Anything really, it all is a consideration. So it depends when and where, obviously, but I feel like as time goes on, if things are executed on properly and it feels like an event is being celebrated, then this region, again, I'm becoming a broken record with this phrase, but this region can grow. I will forever hold that,
Now,
close to heart as well.
yeah, I'll definitely add to that part why will grow, the region will grow more seats. The casual audience, whether it's in the mobile gaming casual audience, like, see, like in Free Fire BGMI, there's a very small fraction of the players who played professionally and are earning it big. Every other guy just playing it randomly और जो ranks climb होता है वो कर रहे हैं. So I just feel कि now people have the idea from Valorant how to peak an angle. Like try to get at this part. They have. I discussed this in the college if you remember, Tharf. मैंने वो
Yeah.
Now people have that idea what is an agent. वो बेसिकली हर के स्पेशल एबिलिटीज होते हैं, तो वो एक कॉम्पिटिटिव सेक्टर में एक आइडिया मिल चुका है लोगों को थोड़ा सा, इवन द कैजुअल पीपल नो. So this is why I believe if Rainbow Six Mobile gets, because mobile gaming will be always better in our region specifically because due to the economic factor and whatnot,
Yeah,
for next at least 20-25 years, for at least 25 years, I can bluntly say I'll write on a check and sign this for next 25 years until the economic growth is there in our region. The income parts are, because it's simple as that. Everybody can afford a 15K phone, but everybody cannot afford a 100K PC. Same for me. I can afford a 50K console, but I cannot afford a 150K streaming PC to just play Rainbow Six on PC and stream properly. Like, cause just simple as that. So I just feel if Rainbow Six Mobile is like अच्छे से आया, अच्छे से मार्केटिंग हुई उसकी, अच्छे से एक प्रॉपर्ली स्ट्रक्चर वे में हुआ, तो आई जस्ट फील इट कैन स्टील सम ऑफ द ट्रैक्शन right now what some of the very big chunk of audience of Free Fire is playing, because everybody is too bored from VR right now. See, the genre is making very good money in our region. Everybody is making good money as in, because money is a very big factor in esports. But जब अगर हुआ तो it will attract a lot of people, because this is what happened in PUBG Mobile. When PUBG PC was there, nobody gave a shit. किसको
that's
पता भी
true.
नहीं था.
Yeah,
PUBG
it
Mobile-
really just, yeah.
PUBG Mobile came in, like everybody in the mobile sector just jumped in. That eventually affected उतना भी नहीं कि वो long run में, but for 2 years or 3 years at least PUBG PC, I used to see every other time Gamer Connect में भी tournaments हो रहे थे PUBG PC के. It was everywhere right there. Because due to PUBG Mobile. So I just feel कि if Rainbow Six Mobile, like बहुत लोगों ने पूछा कि Rainbow Six Mobile में क्या है, तो I just feel if Rainbow Six Mobile थोड़ा सा भी अच्छा ग्रोथ हो गया इंडिया में उसका, तो maybe the general audience of Valorant, maybe the general audience of other PC popular PC titles, like मेरे को तो Valorant के अलावा कुछ दिखता नहीं है, like जो अच्छा कर रहा है नहीं दिखता मुझे, like Valorant के अलावा कोई नहीं है. So maybe like Rainbow Six in our region can get that traction too. Who knows, man? Bigger orgs like VLT, bigger orgs like take it for example in Valorant,
Godlike.
Orangutan, Godlike, Soul. Maybe he'll just one day come in and say, "Hey, man, we want to pick up a Rainbow Six lineup." It will just blow things up, man. It will just blow things up. Because I
Absolutely.
know the amount of money flowing in over there, and I just know what amount of money the salary get. No disrespectful, no disrespect. No disrespect to any other or any, but I just feel the whole ecosystem, like coming back to the same report, whole ecosystem needs to grow at a bigger stage. Every other sector needs to be worked on, whether it's be from the marketing perspective from UB, whether it's be the local tournaments, whether it's be the content creation part, whether it's be the local communities part. So yeah, there are many stages that need to be worked on, but yeah, like I will give one more example. COD Mobile never made a hit in India. Why? Not because there was not no players. There are huge chunk of players. I see every now and then I'm getting offers to cast COD Mobile, but the rates are so bad. So I'm just like no, I cannot do this. इतने घंटे के लिए तो मैं इतना hours के लिए नहीं लूंगा मैं. But this is why everybody says like dude, it was from the side of like ki Activision and the publisher, the CODM publisher was not just interested in the region. थोड़ा सा भी उनका 10% इन द रीजन होता तो बहुत बड़ा एक होता. कमिंग बैक की मैंने एक वापस से चैट में देखा कि वैलेंट इज फ्री टू प्ले एंड रेनबो सिक्स सीज इज नॉट फ्री टू प्ले. दिस वन नो मैन, दिस इज नॉट द रीजन. Yeah, I have seen, I have myself purchased Rainbow Six Siege for 199 or I guess 299 off Steam only for PC
Started edition,
laptop.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, start is yeah. मेरा start edition. तो I just don't feel कि free to play का अब वो factor है. I just feel कि like I will ask these 3 points. I just feel if we get servers in our region, maybe we can grow. If we get more direct involvement from the publisher, mean to say over here UB, will get more traction as a whole scene, and of course local tournaments more simple as that. Like nah, अब मैं proper host बनता हूँ. Atharv, give out 3 points where you think Rainbow Six Siege will grow in our region. Just three
In our
points
region. Okay. So one reason is जो भी international level खेले ना हम, Indian
from your
orgs don't
perspective.
care about it. Yeah, Indian orgs don't care about it. They want viewership in our region. है ना? Like in this subcontinent, they want the viewership in this subcontinent and not international much. They want international, but not that much. They want to grow around India first. So that is one reason approaching orgs is very hard, and that's an esports side of thing, right? Also, the other thing why game doesn't work in India is because it's too hard to run. Valorant, I can pick an i5 integrated system and I can get like
Yeah,
60 FPS out of it.
yeah,
But Siege, I cannot. I can buy the game for 500, but I cannot buy a 100k PC for the game. Like,
exactly.
that's a
ये
big
एक
thing.
reason है. This is why I
You
said.
can,
This is why I
yeah.
said. अगर Rainbow Six Mobile will get traction, maybe अगर like अगर take it for example in year 2 if PUBG Mobile was getting a 1 crore prize pool and college leagues were announced, PMCO something like that was announced back. अगर मैं year 2 बोल दूँ PUBG Mobile का, तो I just feel कि अगर उसका 10% भी आ गया ना PC में, तो it will just affect the region very much. Baba Gusta, what do you think? What are the 3 pointers from your perspective if Siege
I
wants to
mean,
grow more?
if Siege wants to grow more, Athav already said all of it. You know, like you'd need a high-end PC in order for Siege to work at least 60 FPS. And when it comes to laptop wise, you can get laptops for like 50k or 60k, but the main problem is how long will it run? Is it still compatible for playing Siege? And talking about Valorant, yes, you just need a even an
Integrated.
i5 process. Yeah, integrated graphics card is
Integrated.
more than enough for you, more than enough to play Valorant. But the same thing can be said to Siege too. So even if even if you take an example on PUBG too, PUBG also had the same issue. Optimization wise, it wasn't that good on PC, But when it came to Android, many people decide, you know what, why don't I just, try PUBG PC or maybe PUBG Lite and see whether if that works or not. And there were some players who were interested in playing it. So even if Rainbow Six Mobile did come in, I would expect to see at least some content creators would just share a lot of videos about their highlights, their plays,
Exactly.
so that you can
Exactly.
gain much more viewers from that. And many viewers who would watch that video and who would watch the video, they would always think and be like, what is this game? Maybe I should try it." And then they'll check it out and they'll get interested. And it just sort of becomes a loop then and there itself, to see like, there is a game called as Rainbow Six Mobile. There's also a game called as Rainbow Six Siege on PC. How about I give that a try?
Exactly. I'm very bad at explanation. You explained it pretty well. I'm very bad at explanation.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
that's
to
that's
each their
exactly how
own,
it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, when it comes to Siege wise, it always comes down to how much support that you're getting from Ubisoft. And talking about Ubisoft support for the past 2 to 3 years, I've seen them support an entire Hyderabad, an entire event on Hyderabad, which is a very huge thing way back. I still remember me, Foxy, and Scar Dolphin. I believe we three were casting for the ESL India
ASL
Premier League,
Hyderabad.
ESL Hyderabad, which was such a huge event, and Ubisoft was there. They were supporting every single thing, and now, you know who knows, maybe that time can happen, but it just depends on what we will get in the next what we'll get in the next future generations. So just hoping for a major change, and hopefully by bringing in some new stuff and Ubisoft supporting this entire region, maybe we can see some major change.
Yeah, what are your pointers, Blackjack? Like the major three ones. You just think the like Rainbow Six Siege overall can just become the
Mm.
Valorant in our country, in our region. Sorry.
I mean, one for sure. Again, better support overall from the powers that be, right? And like Baba said, things can change, things can get better, but unless the powers that be show some sort of interest, it doesn't have to be major interest, but they show that they actually are invested in where the scene goes. That alone, giving us bigger tournaments, maybe a bigger SAN, maybe a bigger prize pool, maybe more streams, even, whichever. If they show interest here, people will see that, more people will see that, and more people from the outside will tune in. They'll see this region. More people from in the region will tune in. They'll see what's going on. They'll think, okay, Rainbow Six might be a game worth pursuing. Rainbow Six Mobile, of course, factors
Yeah.
into that heavily because of a primarily mobile dominated market. Now, of course, there's some could say that it should be free. Some would say maybe not, but a lower price for the region, depending on the economics and whatnot. But the thing that matters, right, is that it needs to be accessible to a lot of people. How you do that, you optimize it to run on more systems, you lower the cost, the entry cost of it overall, because Siege's learning curve is unique for a shooter in and of itself, right? It is very steep very quickly. But if you manage to get into it, then the reward for that, for actually playing the game properly, is huge. It's immense. But the cost of entry, some would say, can be a bit too high. Sure, in India, it can go down to like 500, 200 even when the starter editions were still a thing. Right. But again, that cost of entry needs to be worked on. More people need to be able to play the game, which the mobile game version will do for sure. But I guess we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. Right.
This,
And of course, a
Mhm.
free version means a much more stronger anti cheat because we all know
Are
how
you talking
bad
about
the
the
anti
free
cheat
version
can
of
be.
Rainbow Six Siege PC?
Uh
Or you
PC, yeah. I mean, mobile, I think will be free. I don't
mobile
actually
is
have
free.
info on
Mobile
that.
is
Is
It
it
free, I
is
free?
free. It
guess.
is.
Okay,
It is
yeah.
free.
Oh,
They
okay,
announced
okay.
it
So
that it will be
yeah,
free to play.
okay. The PC one then I don't necessarily think needs to be free, but if it
Same
were,
here.
it wouldn't really hurt. But again, lowering the cost of entry will also mean more, cheaters and hackers to worry about. A better anti-cheat needs to be in play for that as well. There's a lot of factors that go in. So a better support from the powers that be, more accessibility for players in the region, and what was my? I had a third point. It was on the cusp of my tongue, but I forgot it. Yeah,
Cheaters.
more. Huh?
Okay. Nene, please
No,
go
no.
on, go on. I was just
The
trying to
cheater.
remind you the point.
Yeah, no. The cheaters thing is sort of like a caveat in the accessibility thing. I was just sort of trying to cover my bases, as it were. The last one, of course, more tournaments overall, more
Exactly, yeah.
local
The ecosystem,
involvement
yeah.
from the scene, players, organizations, casters like us. We talk about the scene every now and again, but again, there's not much to talk about. So if we have things to talk about, a tournament, an ongoing series, maybe weeklies. I mean, I know Weekly Go first stop not too long ago, right? A weeklies or something that we can talk about, that we can maybe do community streams for. Maybe orcs can come in, they can sponsor a few streams here and there, and we get the scene going again. There's been that energy, there will be that energy, and these three things, more local streams, more community events, and tournaments and whatnot, more support from the powers that be, and more accessibility for a wider audience. I feel like Rainbow Six, if it gets these three bases correct, to me, there's a big shot to be had here.
I agree. I definitely agree with
Correct.
that part. I just want to take few comments like people were saying. I won't take the names because ऐसा लगा कि मैं target कर रहा हूँ. Like, why did I compare Free Fire and BGMI? I was talking about Rainbow Six Mobile because when I talk about esports, see man, esports is business and this is where we're growing, right? Casters do exist because of the esports part. Players do exist because of the esports part. If there's no esports part of the game, why would we in the ecosystem still surviving? That was my point, and this is why I was taking an example. Of course, free games will always have a player base. Free games, if the servers are alive, it will always have a good chunk of player base. But I just feel ki, it's probably 7-8 years the game is here, and as far as I know, the game goes on sale every now and then, and and the game is like for about $2 or $3. So I guess that is the accessible part over there, Blackjack. It is accessible to everyone, but the learning curve is so big and deep. It's just like it kills the entire interest of any new casual player. Because I have seen many casual players approach to me like on Instagram. Okay, Bullet, I saw you streaming. I want to get into the game. How do I get it? Man, well, I'm just like, man, there's nothing in Siege that you can just go in and try to climb like एक हफ्ते में plat ऐसा कुछ पूछते थे मेरे से. I'm like, there's no way in just in 1 week you can reach plat when you are playing the game for the first time. It's just like you have to grind the game a lot, learn every each and operator out there, at least learn 5 defenders, 5 attackers, how to counter them, and it's just like that. And that's the beauty perspective of the game. This is what it's still running in year 7. Also, I would like to add one point. This is also like globally, year 7 is like do or die for Siege. Globally, I just feel that way because there are
There's
many things.
certainly a feeling like that going around, I feel like.
Yeah, because there was many things that was going wrong when it comes to esports part also in the bigger regions who are definitely way bigger than us, and that I would not talk about. But वो चीज आई थी कि कुछ चीजें गलत हो रही थी जो नहीं होनी चाहिए from as a TO, as a esports part, you can just say that shouldn't be there. And I just feel कि as a game also, where in every other game in the pandemic उनका player base grow हुआ, but when it comes to Siege, the player base was going down, in the especially the last lockdown of period of last 2 years. I just feel in that way कि yep, uh, the game should एक game में as a casual mode तो है, like introduction of team deathmatch was very good move. If you want to attract new players, if you want to attract the casual player who just want to get in. अगर वो बंदा थक के ऑफिस से काम से करने आया तो बस भाई 3 डेथ मैच खेलूंगे 10-20 मिनट, उसके बाद maybe I will play one on rank and rank. Because एक game almost takes a rank on rank game almost take 50-40 minutes. 50-40 minutes is a very big chunk of time when it comes to any other working guy, any other 9 to 5 guy. So this is the kind of the main audience for the gaming part, because हर कोई बच्चा नहीं है like PC के साथ बैठा हुआ है. Everybody is not that 13 or 12-year-old. So I just feel like there are many things to work upon as a game, but as we are discussing SA, so yeah, and also the TO part, I just want to say one thing कि what attracts any other TO rather than कि जो जिनको experience है पहले से, they know how to do a siege tournament, it's just the ROI. Simple as that. If they are putting 50 lakhs into a tournament and you see 1 lakh or 2, that's a very small part of the money, because Rainbow Six जैसा गेम का टूर्नामेंट करवाने में बहुत चीजें बैकएंड में वर्क की जाती है. I'm connected to an org, and I see amount of people working day and night to make that production, make that kind of what do you say, end product basically to happen, and that doesn't comes overnight. If you're just thinking, like, you have to understand understand the business perspective of it. If you see in Siege, there's a tournament going on from in our region, from a local TO of 2 or 3 lakh. That is a very small amount of money. Like, what is being put in from an investor's perspective to the whole IP, or the whole tournament itself. So I just feel कि 1-2 लाख के प्राइस पुल वाले टूर्नामेंट से तो नहीं होगा. If you want to grow in, we need to give good viewership. We need to, like, TO की तरफ से भी सब कुछ अच्छे से होना चाहिए. Like, you know what I'm getting at. Everything needs to be very, very, at least 60-70% perfect. And this is what, when I feel कि Rainbow Six Siege will grow. Because take it for example, man. 1 साल या 2 साल से सीन डेड है. एनी रैंडम टीओ कम्स इन, disrespects another team कि भाई हम ये चीज करा रहे हैं, हम वो चीज करा रहे हैं, we are putting this much money on the line. That is nothing. You are just exploiting them because you got the contract, you got the basically language, देसी language ठेका मिला है तुमको कराने का, so you are just doing it for the stuff. But this is not happens, man. This is not how things work. If you go, like, same thing, I will compare it to the BGMI scene, I will compare it to the Free Fire scene, because they are very big in India. I believe, being we have very, very, dedicated teams. So I just feel that way, ki people and the players in our region deserves the same, because we are in year 7, dude. We are in year 7. मजाक नहीं होता है 7 साल अपने जिंदगी का देना किसी एक गेम को. It's just not like that. Take it for example, man, Baba and Blackjack. I'm seeing them casting way before even I started to cast and organize my own tournament on console. Way before that. So I just feel, as a caster, as a content creator, as a player, everyone who is attached to the game to any other way deserves more. Simple as that. Keep the viewership part aside. Keep everything aside, and that can only happen when UB directly gets involved in the region in the same way as they are doing towards the other region. Simple.
Yeah.
For
Only
sure.
time will
For
tell,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, only time will really tell what comes or doesn't. But I fully agree with everything you said there, Bullet. Things have to happen, and things have to be consistent. Consistency, which has been a major problem for a lot of things have gone wrong because they simply weren't consistent enough, right? Or in some cases, too consistent, too frequent. So again, a middle ground of all of that needs to be established. And I've said it before, I said it again. Toxicity and banter and whatnot, they happen all the time. Some
Yeah,
people are just kind of like that. It can't really be helped. But as long as you have a reach, right, any kind of reach, and you influence the
exactly.
scene, which a lot
Exactly.
of people do, they don't
Exactly.
know that they do, but they do, constantly talking about the game and
One
whatnot.
second. I will-
But whatever reach you have as a player, as a caster, as an org, social media manager, whatever you are, you need to be a little bit more responsible and draw the line before things get out of hand, because this is true of many things, and of a particular fighting game that I really, really like right now, that is going through the same situation, where the pros of said game are constantly shit talking, right? They're constantly saying bad things about it, and it has actually affected the player base of the game. It is getting lower because more people are seeing, oh, there's so much negativity around this, why should I play the game? And they just hop off. It also doesn't help that there's a very imbalanced character in the game right now, but let's not talk about that. But yeah, issues like that. Siege has had its fair share of that. People constantly shit talking the game, and there is genuine criticism to be done of Siege. Even now, even when it is in such a good state, there is genuine criticism to be had. But a line must be drawn between genuine constructive criticism and just shit talking for the sake of shit talking, you know? Because in those situations, it just breeds negativity. And the more negativity you breed, the worse the scene gets, the less the players become willing to play, and the more it hurts the scene overall. It's happened here, it's happened in the wider global scene, and it will happen. So a line needs to be drawn there. Players need to be more, not just players, everyone involved in the scene needs to be more mature and a little bit, just a little bit, more professional when talking to each other, about each other, and about tournaments and the scene, in general. Because I'm always a believer of, if you don't have something to say, don't say it, rather
I
than
agree
just
with
go
that.
and tweet something nonsensical. you
नहीं
know.
tweet को भी हटा दे तो tweet को भी if you don't
Just
have
say
anything good and give it a positive feedback if you're seeing a pro player whipping it out in a pro tournament and probably you know the reason you just go and don't be like वो होता है ना इंडिया और पाकिस्तान का भी क्रिकेट मैच होता है तो ऐसा होता
Oh,
है and people blame it on the Indian cricket team and you just don't know about the pressure at what they are at that in boots they are in तो वो चीज उनको नहीं समझ में आती तो I just feel कि like when you are playing a game like Rainbow Six Siege उतना तो IQ है तुम्हारे पास how to be a mature and
People,
give yeah please go
yeah,
on please
people don't know the difference between banter and attacking someone. Like that is one big
that is
issue.
also
Exactly.
yeah, no, that is it's a thin line to cross for sure, but there
Yeah.
is a very marked difference, you know. And like you said, Atharv, a lot of people don't know that that becomes an issue.
Yeah. And people should know what to take seriously and what to not. Like,
Also,
if I
that
call
yeah
you
be
shit in the game, you
also
should not take it seriously. It's just that I'm making fun of you, like, as a player, not as a personal, issue. So, if I call you, oh my god, this team is so bad, okay? That's fine. That's just banter. Okay, we are better than them. It's banter. Look, oh my god, that guy, he does that. Now I don't want to
you
do it, okay?
you okay
But
Black Jack
that is different.
are you okay did you wiped off your tears and stuff
what? No,
okay I just okay
no, I had
wiping
a
okay
bad itch over here. That's why.
okay
Sorry
okay
about that.
yeah
So the
no
I
it's
difference is
fine
actually very hard to understand, but you should use common sense at that point. यार, if I say this, does that guy will feel hurt? है ना? As ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा मतलब he should feel कि like अरे यार गेम मैंने थोड़ा खराब खेला और he thinks I'm playing bad or something.
I
ठीक है?
remember this. Oh my god, I haven't apologized. I remember this. So when this last Platonia thing was happening, you remember there was on the side on the map of Oregon, Attic wale area. I called up a guy and then said, because see man, I didn't have any information about the player. I just said randomly because in Hindi you can't just say like that.
हाँ
Hindi
हाँ.
में casting and English में casting they are two different things. We have
Yeah, yeah.
two great English casters on right now on a podcast, and they can definitely agree with that. And
Oh yeah,
in
absolutely.
casting in English, you can just say, "What is this guy doing right now? Is he deaf or what?" People not. And I just said कि या इधर इसको साउंड नहीं आ रही थी या तो ये बहरा है बंदा इसको लाइक आई सेड इन अ वेरी वेरी लाइक क्या बोलूं मेरे पास प्रोवर्ब नहीं आ रहा था यू कैन सी इट वाज अ बैड कास्टर
Monotonous, I
मूव
guess.
हाँ और वो एक बंदा था a guy approached me I guess that was Fukushima goat who said to me like bro वो actually deaf है and उसको नहीं पता था कि वहां पे बंदा है I'm like bro so this is what like the वो offense वाले में मतलब bro मैं कोई offense में नहीं उसको बोला and this was in an official tournament there's nothing like if some TO is organizing I'm casting I'm taking money
wait. I'm sorry to disturb. Like deaf as in was he like stunned from a flashbang or
no he was actually he's disabled from his right or left ear
Oh, okay.
oh okay
and
okay.
and I didn't knew that and I just
Hmm.
remember I just recall it I have to like go
I
in
don't
and
know anything
apologize to
about
it
that actually.
no I remember like वो विला का नहीं सॉरी ओरेगन का मैप था स्मोक लेके बंदा बैठा हुआ था and क्योंकि स्मोक का शॉट ही so goddamn powerful and you just
Yeah.
cannot go in and I just said कि like bro this is so easy like deaf or what मैंने बोला कि like बहरा like कुछ हिंदी में मैंने proverb बोला था मेरे दिमाग में नहीं आ रहा है बहिर हो गया या कुछ ऐसा मैंने बोला हिंदी में proverb बोला like मैं proverbs थोड़ा बहुत implement करने की कोशिश करता मैंने casting में हिंदी like casting में ऐसा करना पड़ता है तो मैंने कुछ ऐसा बोला एंड उसके बाद मुझे सुकुशिमा गोट का है मैंने बोला ब्रो नो वे आई वाज इन ऑफेंड सो या यू हैव टू टेक अप दैट रिस्पांसिबिलिटी कि अगर तुम ऐसा कुछ बोल भी रहे हो ना तो अगर इफ यू आर नॉट एबल टू ऑफेंड इट अगर सामने वाला बंदा सामने वाला प्लेयर सामने वाला और ऑफेंड हो गया तो जस्ट गो ऑन सोशल मीडिया जस्ट से मैन हे मैन इट्स टोटली फाइन आई डिडंट मीन इन दैट वे बिकॉज वो आपको छोटा नहीं बना देगा यार बिकॉज
Yeah.
इतना तो अपने सीन में इतना तो कोई भी बड़ा नहीं है कि लाइक अगर वो ऐसा सॉरी सामने से आके बोल दे हे ब्लैक जैक आई एम सॉरी I didn't mean to disrespect you कि आप खराब casting करते हैं I just said कि we can just be bigger that doesn't mean say कि I'm disrespecting towards him it's just like कि I just personally believe that he can be a bigger caster that's it
Yeah. That is exactly what I meant. Like,
Hmm.
समझना आना चाहिए कि like is that guy actually just making fun of the gameplay or is he actually just
also
becoming
also
मतलब झगड़ा कर रहा है?
also 3 pointers did blackjack sorry I'm confused Baba did you just mention your 3 pointers or didn't you
Wait, which three
You did-
pointers are you talking
like
about?
Rainbow Six Siege can grow overall in our region
I didn't get it. Can you repeat that question again?
No. When Bullard was asking us about the three things that we think will help Siege grow in the region, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's just having a second here to make sure that he got everyone right. So, like he asked everyone, but he's
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
do.
yeah. Did you say your pointers, right?
Yeah, I think I did
I
set my
Yeah.
pointers. Yeah.
So I guess it's time to close in. If you have guys any closing comments, and I just personally believe we can get in more people because you guys have more PC scene ka knowledge rather than me. Because I can give that perspective from an outsider's. Like I just feel, uh, from players perspective, from a viewers perspective, थोड़ा सा toxicity कम होना चाहिए. Because मैंने वो चीज़ observe करी है. And it like जो amount of toxicity एक growing stage में रहेगा, like Valorant scene is very much bigger. Siege is not even 1% of it. Just saying, just putting the word out there. 1% of it भी नहीं है. I have seen, like, cause take it for example, man. Why Baba and Blackjack both went to Valorant casting? Why are not they are not casting? See, it's just like we don't have enough tournaments to cast on. Why am I doing Free Fire tournaments in Hindi? Why TOs cannot come in and put up the money to afford English casting as well, Hindi casting as well. And if we have good teams, we have so much good teams from Bangladesh and Sri Lankan region and Pakistan region. Why not Urdu casting? Why not Sri Lankan language casting? Why not Bangla casting? That will provide so much of value to our region in a so very big way that people and I guess the shit orgs cannot understand.
I mean, mind you, we've talked so much about what goes on visually, what we can see, the people we see, the players and the casters and the orgs and whatnot. But I feel like something I personally should have probably brought up at some point: support staff. We talked a little bit about analysts in the region and coaches and whatnot. I mean, we had Ashrit, with us, and even then, it is what it is. But yeah, it's just everyone who works in the scene absolutely deserves more. And I'm not saying that
Yep.
because I am a current caster in the region. No, I say that because I see these wonderful people, these players, these coaches, the analysts. We have Music J and Neil who make these wonderful stats and spreadsheets that
Yep.
are full of information for all of us to really
Yeah.
dig into, and it helps us casters form a little bit any kind of storytelling. And of course, storytelling and casting, a
Is
big
very
thing.
very
Yeah, very
मैं
important.
I will
And
just add up to that. इंडिया के
yeah.
90% of the casters को नहीं आता स्टोरी टेलिंग करना.
Yikes,
Well
man.
then. But yeah, the analysts and the coaches, when we get to talk to them, when we get to talk to the players, those aspects of casting are also helped as a result. And we, as casters, can then go out and do an even better job next time, so that the org sees it,
Exactly.
org see it, they see that there's a casting scene going on, there's an analysis happening, coaches are really working their butts off day in and day out to get their team to an even greater level, and the players are executing on that because they're constantly practicing, and they are becoming more consistent, more better at supporting each other, communications are rising, more orgs
Exactly.
come in,
Communication.
sponsors
Yeah.
come in, the scene grows. And that's, I think, that if there ever were to be a proper title for this episode of the Rainbow Six SA podcast, it would be The Growth of the Scene, or something along those lines.
The
I'm not
growth
great
of
with
SA.
titles.
The
The
growth
Growth
of
of
SA.
SA. Yeah, maybe something along those lines. I'm not great with titles. Full disclosure. If you ever see any of my video titles when I used to make Siege videos, yeah, I'm not good with titles. But yeah, like, closing thoughts, the scene has a lot of potential. And there are a lot of fantastic people that work day in, day out to make this scene what it has been and what it can be. But there needs to be more. And the more is done, the better it will be, the more it will grow, and the more dividends we will see as a result.
My closing comment as a content creator for last like 3 or 4 years, just like that. I need more content creators, man, in my region.
Mm.
I'm too fed up. Like when I stream Apex, there are at least three guys. Like, see, when I stream Apex, at least I get 11 or 8 people, and and almost two of them, bro, आज सीज नहीं खेल रहे, and I say अच्छा, मैं जब सीज खेलता तो तू स्ट्रीम आके देखता है, तू चैट में रह के बात करता है. And just like we need more regular and like a good quality. Like, I've put up the word quality because I just feel I'm not a content creator, I'm a regular streamer who just like now got into casting. I just feel that when I have time, I'm doing podcasts. When I have time, I'm doing seed stream. I just feel we need more content creators, more committed content creators, and that can only happen when they'll get views. Simple. Atharv and
Yep.
Baba, your closing
Yeah.
thoughts for this
Y-
episode of the
Arthur,
SA
why don't you go
podcast.
ahead with the closing thoughts?
So I don't know about. I don't think I should call it closing thoughts. Like I have a lot of new topics to discuss as well. But then this
Next
is like the
episode.
time frame we have. Yeah.
Next
So
episode.
closing thought would be like, stay tuned. You're gonna definitely hear a lot about this
I'm
season more.
thinking. I'm thinking for next episode, I'll call up few Kira players, few mercenary players. I'll do the players intro kind of thing. But
हाँ, we're
ऐसा
gonna talk about
वो
ये
हाँ वो
support
टॉक्सिसिटी नहीं
staff
होना
का.
चाहिए.
Yeah, exactly. नहीं नहीं वो तो people are mature enough in the region, but as long as it's not in the game, I'll tell you that.
अरे
Yeah.
गेम में एक राइवलरी होना भी चाहिए. वो मजा तभी आता है.
Exactly.
वो गेम में राइवलरी होता है. लाइक टेक इट फॉर एग्जांपल, दीस गाइस आर कास्टिंग वैलोरेंट. दे नो इफ अगर ऐसा कुछ बेट वाला मूव नहीं होगा, कुछ ऐसा गंदा लाइनअप नहीं होगा, एज फार एज आई नो वैलोरेंट, तो वो फील नहीं आता. वो फिर लाइक वो कॉम्पिटिटिव में भी होता है. इट हैपेंस इन कॉम्पिटिटिव टू. सो या तो गेम तक ही रहे सीमित तो अच्छा होता है. वो ऐसा
Yeah.
बाहर आयरल आ जाएगा, माँ बहन की हो जाएगी, तो फिर वो बहुत ज्यादा गंदा लगता है. प्रोफेशनली
Yep.
बहुत ही ज्यादा
Just
गंदा.
looks unprofessional at that point कि यार this is very bad. We don't want that impression. ऐसा हो जाता है. So yeah,
Baba,
there have lot more topics I think.
yeah, we will
Baba.
for sure. I'm thinking of getting in players. Baba, your closing thoughts, or maybe like
Closing thoughts. I
good night
mean,
मत बोल देना बस अभी. वो मैं बोलूँगा.
no. I have to say, with my past experience forecasting on Siege, it's been almost 2 years. I've seen a lot of growth coming in from South APAC. Yes, there were a lot of ups and downs. I'm going
Okay.
to agree that we had a lot of problems, mistakes coming in from our end, even on the players' end. But still, we did somehow manage to fix all those mistakes and try to make a better performance both while casting as well as on playing. But when people starts to say that the scene is dead, the scene is no more, I have to ask this question here. Since we are still here talking about the scene and you still have players who are still dedicated in playing Siege, when it comes to matchmaking on Rainbow Six Siege, you still find players playing unranked matches, ranked matches, and quick match. Is it really dead though? I have to ask that question. Is it really dead though?
I think it's
Because I
dead in
can.
the competitive scene, actually. That's what I think. And there are
मेरे
some
डेड
terms we
मेरे
can't
डेड
understand.
पर्सपेक्टिव से कहने
Even
का ये है कि लाइक सी मैन it's just like simple as that कि if a guy plays Valorant and he wants to go professional Valorant, he can go because community में इतने सारे events हो रहे हैं. The scene is active now. That dead का perspective लोग इसलिए शायद बोलते हैं because उस चीज को मैं बहुत अच्छे से समझ पा रहा हूँ. And if he's playing Rainbow Six Siege for 6 hours a day, he wants to form a team, he wants to get in, there's nothing. वो
Nope,
शायद
there's
वो
no
डेड का है
support.
क्योंकि
I mean,
एक गेम का डेड की एकदम प्लेयर बेस ही खत्म हो जाना, दैट इज समथिंग वेरी
extreme
ग्रेवयार्ड.
actually.
वो तो बहुत ज्यादा एक्सट्रीम हो गया. वैसा डेड तो
Yeah.
आई डोंट थिंक सो रेनबो सिक्स विल एवर बी.
it's
अगर
not. It's not.
हाँ अगर वो होना होता तो वो 2 साल पहले हो गया होता, 3 साल पहले हो गया होता. जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ द कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी ऑफ द गेम. जो हार्ड पॉइंटर्स है ना इस गेम के, दैट इज व्हाट इज मेकिंग द गेम स्टिल अलाइव. जस्ट सिंपल एज दैट.
Yep.
This is what is keeping the Siege very till alive in the year 7. And like I said, man, year 7 will be do or die for Siege. I just feel that.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be do or die for Siege though, because when it comes to company wise, they're doing their level best to do something about it. But when it comes to community's response, we also should give something in return, right? I mean, like you said, content creation, a lot of clips, a lot of highlights, maybe
Yeah, man.
casters using a previous wards and trying to analyze and explain why you see X team doing this kind of strategy, why do you
I
see Y
agree.
team trying to counter those strategies. Even I also just realized when I actually kept thinking, you know what, I think it would be a best idea to make a ward review on any specific match, talk about it, explain on why. That itself is going to be a content. And talking about those, making highlights, talking more about the game will somehow increase the entire reach of the game. So hopefully, I'm just hoping that in the next nearby
Good
future, I
idea.
think I'll also do that too. I'll see if I can
For the next
figure
for
out a way
next
to.
siege tournament, let's call
Yeah.
music. Let's call the caster who casted that game. Let's do it. Because
Yeah,
even if we do it 1 week or 2 week later, that will still matter, right? Like time
yeah.
अगर frame match नहीं हो पाता, if we get the timings right and we can just spend at least 1 hour 2 hour together, we can at least do it by end of this year. Maybe अगले साल तक मैं नहीं रहूँ, because I'm like, maybe like this is for me, it is like do or die for Siege for year 7. I just feel in that way. Right, let's see how this year
I
goes.
mean, it like
Hmm.
it always comes back with time. It always depends on what will happen. And since because of COVID, there were some many backlashes for the tournaments too.
True.
So since in this year COVID is a bit decreased, so we might see some changes, but we still don't know as of now on what next is about to happen. But for every player who has loved playing Siege, the only thing that I can say is don't lose hope. That's all I can say. Just don't lose
Man,
hope.
yeah, man.
Don't give up.
I have like
Despite
me. Yeah.
so many backlash that the game had to go through, you still have community support. You still have, some support from the company itself to see if they can, work out with some issues. And if that works out well, if they try to, somehow work together, maybe try to fix a solution, then maybe we might see some huge changes coming in from our end too.
Yes, and this happens in every competitive game. Look at Overwatch, look at Dota, look at CS, look at Valorant. This happens in every other game. Like कुछ updates खराब होते हैं, कुछ updates सही होते हैं. Some people react in a very different way. Some community react in a very different way. And this happens in every live service game out there. To get this from a developer's perspective, this happens in every live service game, because this is what keeps it running. And sometimes, as far as I know, from insider perspective, some developers also do it for like जानबूझ के, समझ रहे हो, like जान के करना कोई चीजें to get that controversy on, to get that hype on, and this get done. So उसमें there's nothing to get mad about कि भाई अगर smoke, I take it the smoke वाले में इतने सारे content creators पता नहीं कुछ क्या क्या बोल रहे थे. I just feel that कि that was a very good move from my perspective, because like स्मोक का फ्रेंडली फायर खुद को देना वाज मोर लाइक कि डायमंड और फ्लैट लॉबी में काफी ज्यादा
For the
अब्यूज
next
किया जाता है.
podcast.
हाँ, ठीक
It's
है.
a very good
चलो
podcast.
चलो चलो. Like, of course, like, thank you so much, guys, for taking out your time. I appreciate everyone who came in the chat. And yes, जिनको भी आने का एपिसोड में, like, please let me, आपने क्या ऐसे में ऐसा कुछ किया है. Like, of course, I cannot get every random guy. I have a like a proper thing planned in my mind. We'll get something, but हाँ, आपको लगता है अगर ये people को होना चाहिए, of course, like, I want to get Sparko, I want to get some people from Mercenaries, I want to get some people on Kira, on a single episode, because I just feel that that will be very very legendary to do, because कर सकते हैं ना, like, if something can happen, we can do it. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, and thank you so much, Atharv, thank you so much, Baba Gusta, thank you so much, Blackjack,
Thank you
and
for having me.
hopefully we can cast someday Siege together, because yes, I just want to. चलो, thank you so much, guys. Bye bye.
Alright.
Dr. Dang, your timing is very bad. तुम बहुत गलत time पे हो
Absolutely
chat में.
impeccable.
Oh, बताए वो, छोड़ो उसको.
Like,
चलो guys, see ya. Peace.
Alright.
all right.
Putting up the
उसको
end
कि-
screen.
कितना
Okay, I
पहले
haven't
दिया
put the end screen yet. अभी कुछ बोलना मत guys. मेरे OBS में कुछ हो गया. हाँ, अब चला गया.